necessary.
He's a father.
Yeah, of course.
I think I've broken the case.
He's a private eye. Richard Dreyfuss is Moses Wine in The Big Fix.
Now playing at the York and a Canadian Odeon theatre near you.
When you're a Canadian-owned business here in Canada, like we are at Mr. Transmission, you take an extra pride in your work. We've been successful in serving Canadians with transmission problems for over 15 years, and we can honestly say that we've tried to please every customer who came to us with a transmission problem. Maybe that's the reason why so many Canadians are saying, "Hey, Mr. Transmission. Hey, Mr., you're a friend of mine. Hey, Mr. Transmission." Hey.
This is CBC Television in Toronto, Channel 5, Cable 6.
Go. My name is Jerry Detellia, quarterback for the Alouettes. When I was 7 years old, Ron Lancaster was starting his first game with the Saskatchewan Roughriders. I admire the man greatly. I think he's a great man, a great quarterback. Reads defenses really well, but as much as I admire him, I think we're still going to beat him.
Many say this is Ronnie Lancaster's final season, but Ronnie isn't talking. He holds most of the CFL passing records. Recently, he went over 50,000 yards. No matter what his decision, he'll remain one of the all-time favorites.
Canadian Professional Football on CBC. Brought to you by Canadian Pacific. Owned by Canadians, working for Canadians. KTEL International. Specialists in household and leisure time products. Shell Canada Limited. Shell helps. Labatt's Breweries of Canada Limited. Brewers of Labatt's 50 Ale and Labatt's Blue.
Live from Taylor Field in Regina, it's the Saskatchewan Roughriders against the Montreal Alouettes. Good afternoon, and nice to have you with us for this very important interlocking contest. You know, it's 3/4 of the way through the season. As of now, no one has been eliminated from playoff contention. Things are getting tighter. Last night, the Calgary Stampeders defeated the Toronto Argonauts in Calgary by a score of 22-16. So let's look at the standings first in the Eastern Conference. And we find that they're relatively unchanged there. Toronto now has 3-9 for 6 points, and they're still on the bottom. In the West, Edmonton leads. Saskatchewan is on the bottom there, a total of 6 points, but Calgary's in the middle. They've established a good hold on third place in the Western Conference. Well, the weather isn't too bad for an afternoon game in Regina, but it's very windy right now. The winds are gusting from 44 to 63 kilometers. And it's a very sunny sky. The temperature is 18 degrees. The forecast is for more sun later this afternoon. A look now at the officials. The referee is Neil Payne. The line umpire is Jim Lysak. The back umpire, Mike Giraldi. Head linesman is Larry Rowan. And Kenny Lazaruk is the field judge. The former Winnipeg Blue Bomber star Bob LaRose and Don Whitman will be along with the play-by-play right after this.
This is the premiere performance of the unique Algoma Steel Symphony. Brought to you. This is the premiere performance of the unique Algoma Steel Symphony. Brought to you by Canadian Pacific. Of particular interest to the various instruments. The seamless steel pipe, light rails and heavy rails, ingots, blooms, billets and slabs, forged grinding balls, the white flange beam, hot or cold roll sheet, and strip steel, and the ever-popular plate steel. As you can see, harmonious variety is the keynote of the Algoma Steel performance. At Canadian Pacific, keeping in tune with customers' needs is very important to us. That's why we think our subsidiary Algoma makes such beautiful music in the steel business.
At Canadian Pacific, we believe what we do is important to you.
Hi, everybody. A very important game this afternoon for both the Alouettes and the Roughriders. The Roughriders, of course, must win if they hope to keep their very slim playoff hopes alive. Both teams have made lineup changes. The Montreal Alouettes, one significant change. Al Cowlings has moved into a defensive end spot.
Al Cowlings is a veteran NFL ball player coming from the Los Angeles Rams, and he'll certainly add more strength and speed to that defensive line.
Vernon Perry is back after being out since a preseason arm injury.
Vernon Perry was the leading interceptor last year for in the entire CFL. He intercepted 9 passes, so he'll come back to shore up that defensive secondary that was victimized quite repeatedly last year.
And John Leary should give that running game a big boost, particularly in these wind conditions.
With these wind conditions as they are, gusting as high as they are, we're going to see a lot of running from, I think, both sides.
The Saskatchewan Roughriders have had more than their share of injuries this season, but they've got one of their injured players back this afternoon. Steve Dennis is returning to the right corner.
Steve Dennis has also been out most of the season. I believe he got hurt in the first game against Winnipeg. He replaces Horace Perkins on that defensive right corner. But once again, a welcome re-addition to the Saskatchewan team.
And Joey Walters is back after being out since early in August, and Walters should definitely help the Saskatchewan passing attack. He provides some speed at that receiving position. The ground game will rest with Mike Strickland. He's the only man in the CFL so far this year to go over 1,000 yards.
1,042 yards, and he's also the leading pass receiver for the Saskatchewan Roughriders, having brought in something like 34 passes. He has been the one stabilizing influence on this team throughout the season because he's the one guy that's been around all season.
The Saskatchewan Roughriders are expected to put the ball in the air quite frequently this afternoon. They now have some deep speed, they have some threats, and Lancaster will probably go to them. Right now, let's go down to field level and our national anthem. We'll be back with the Saskatchewan kickoff in just a moment.
I'm a Canadian Pacific shareholder now, Harry.
Well, that's good, Arnold.
That gives me a share in the whole company, eh, Harry? Mines, airlines, steel, railway, trucks, forest products, hotels, ships, real estate, petroleum, telecommunications.
That's right. The company has a big responsibility to you as a shareholder.
Yeah, so now he's working for me.
At Canadian Pacific, we believe what we do is important to you.
The Saskatchewan Roughriders, Bob McAreedy, preparing to kick off to the Alouettes. The Alouettes send 3 people back. Green is in the middle, standing at the 5-yard line. Mofford is at the 15, and so is O'Leary. The Roughriders are kicking into this wind. Ball is taken by Wally Buono, and Buono is downed almost immediately at the 34-yard line by John Nelson. So that's the point. The Montreal Alouettes will start out with that favoring wind. That was a 36-yard kick and a 5-yard return. Doug Smith is the center for the Alouettes. Payton and Watron the guards. Cal Winter and Yoakum are the tackles. Dallariva and Larry Smith are the receivers, along with McMahon and Gaddis, Green and O'Leary in the running back positions, and Jerry DiTilio is the starting quarterback. This is only the 3rd game as a starting quarterback for Jerry DiTilio, and Roger Goree comes up on the first play to make the tackle on Green. Tackle made at the 35-yard line. It will be a pickup of about 1, 2nd and 9 for Montreal. Erie Jones, Mike Samples, Ron Cherkis, and Bill Baker comprise the front four for Saskatchewan, backed up by Roger Goree, Charles Anthony, and Bill Manchuk. Dennis and Williams are on the corners, Featherstone and Young at the halfback spots, and Ken McEachran is the safety. Second and 9. DeTilio looking to the sidelines. He's got Gaddis, and he goes out of bounds, but he should have a first down.
Montreal's coming out with a bit of a flood formation, putting all their wide receivers on the same side, putting a lot of bodies in one area and trying to put them at intermediate depths, and letting the quarterback, Jerry DeTilio, simply pick out the one that's open.
A first down at the 47. Montreal in possession. The game just underway. 13:44, the time remaining in this opening quarter. Gaddis comes out wide to the right. They counter with John O'Leary. He pulls his way up to the midfield stripe. Stopped there by Mike Samples. A good gain by O'Leary. A pickup of 8. It will be 2nd and 2 for the Alouettes. O'Leary has had a variety of hurts this season. He missed the last game, the loss to the Edmonton Eskimos a week ago. He's a welcome return to that Montreal offensive unit. O'Leary, of course, came to the Alouettes via the University of Nebraska and the Chicago Bears of the NFL. 2nd and 2 from the midfield stripe. Montreal in possession. Green stopping for that first down. He stopped about a yard short by Bill Manchuk.
Good job all the way down that defensive line of the Saskatchewan Roughriders, being able to knock out the pulling guard and being able to come up and meet that charge right at the line of scrimmage. And it's definitely a third down. It'll be interesting to see here whether Coach Joe Scannella is going to go for it this early in the ball game.
Well, Scannella sends in the kicking unit. He is not going to gamble early in this ball game, which comes as something of a surprise with only about a yard. Well, perhaps it is a little more than a yard, as they have repositioned the ball just a little closer to the midfield stripe. So they have almost 2 yards still remaining.
Don, I think with this strong wind, they're hoping to get Saskatchewan deep in their own end and try and keep them trapped down there.
Third down punt by Buono. He really caught it. O'Hara retreating into the end zone. Will he try and get out? He initially indicated that he would try and run it out, saw there was really no hope. A 61-yard kick by Wally Buono produces a single point for the Montreal Alouettes, and with 12:23 remaining in the opening quarter, they move in front by a score of 1-0.
Don, that kick just gives you an indication of what kind of wind is blowing. Wally Buono certainly not averaging anything close to 60 yards, but routine punt just kept on sailing for him.
This is poster day at Taylor Field, and fans here in the stands bringing a variety of posters, including that one. We'll return with the Saskatchewan first down play right after this.
At Canadian Pacific, we're much involved in this old world. We fly over it, sail on it, transport goods and information across it, build on it. And we're vitally interested in what's inside it. Because our subsidiary, Caminco Limited, is in the mining business. And Caminco is one of the largest miners of lead and zinc in the world. This mine in British Columbia has 300 miles of tunnels and has produced more than 15 million tons of metals used in everything from automobiles to space vehicles. Directly or indirectly, this single mine makes jobs for more than 10,000 Canadians. At Canadian Pacific, through Caminco, we're constantly in search of new mines because minerals are one of the vital resources that make our modern world go round.
At Canadian Pacific, we believe what we do is important to you.
And obviously a double connotation with Thanksgiving Day being celebrated tomorrow. Ron Lancaster, who next weekend will celebrate his 40th birthday, directing the attack for Saskatchewan. Molly McGee out to the 41-yard stripe, stopped there by Junior Ayu with help from Randy Rhino. An advance of 6 yards, it will be 2nd and 4. Joe Scannella, who back in 1953 spent time with the Saskatchewan Roughriders as a player.
Nothing fancy about this play. Molly McGee simply gets the ball straight ahead blocking, but excellent job by that offensive line, blowing a big hole.
On 2nd and 4, it's Molly McGee again, picking up about 2 more. Judges and Weir from their defensive tackle positions were in on the stop. And it would appear as though the Roughriders will be forced to kick it away. A windy afternoon, but it is a sunny, warm day with the temperature at game time 18 degrees. Randy Rhino and Jim Burrows are the pair that have retreated on this 3rd down punt. And Bob McAreedy will launch from the vicinity of his 30-yard line. McAreedy has a 45.5-yard average. Back on August 27th, he set a CFL record against the Toronto Argonauts by kicking 7 field goals. And into that wind, the left-footed kicker almost shanked it. It's taken on the run by Burrows, and Burrows gets to the 50 of the Roughriders. Roger Aldag was there to make the stop. Very definitely, this wind is going to be a factor if it continues to blow at the same velocity.
Don, it was interesting to note that one of the kickers was telling me before the game that with a wind this velocity, that even those snaps that are coming back 15 yards end up kind of wobbling around in this wind, and McAreedy had a little trouble holding on to that ball just to get his kick away.
Only an 18-yard kick, an 11-yard return. Excellent field position for the Montreal Alouettes once again. Good protection afforded to Tilio. He can't find that receiver. He had a lot of time, though, to try and pick one out. And finally, Erie Jones got through to drop Tilio back at the 52.
That was excellent pass protection by that Montreal offensive line, though. Tilio had all kinds of time, and I guess we have to pat the defensive backs on the shoulders, too, on this play, because with all that time, he was still unable to find anybody to throw to. Good pass protection. Tilio finally steps out of it. And I think indication right there that Coach Scannella has told him to try and stay in that pocket and not start running with that ball too early in this ballgame.
2nd and 12. Tilio will try and put it in the air, going to the sidelines, and he's got Peter Dalariva for a 1st down and more to the 30 of the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Dalariva, a most valuable receiver over the years for Montreal. He had a big game last week in a losing effort against Edmonton.
And there was some mix-up in the defensive coverage in this play because Dalariva was left wide open in the flat. The defensive halfback in his coverage had fallen off rather deeply and weren't able to stop Dalariva before he picked up 22 yards.
So Montreal will have a 1st down situation at the 30 of Saskatchewan. McMahon goes wide to the left. Tilio rolls left, throws, completes to Bob Gaddis, fumbles the ball, but he fumbled just as he went out of bounds, and it appears as though Gaddis is shaken up on the play. Gaddis was injured last week against the Edmonton Eskimos. He was accidentally kicked in the jaw. He has an extremely sore jaw, and he lost one tooth and chipped another as a result of that incident a week ago.
Jerry Tilio is going to the sprint out action to help keep the pressure off him. Got Gaddis. He made a good reception. Now he fumbles the ball, but the ball goes out of bounds before anybody else touches it, and it's the last person in possession of the ball before it goes out that retains that possession.
So the Alouettes will have a 1st down at the 20 of Saskatchewan. And you see Bob Gaddis still on the sidelines and again favoring that jaw.
And we see it right there. Ken McEachran gave him a good shot, and it's right back in that same jaw, coming up on the tackle. Threw that little bit of a forearm at him, caught him under the chin, and I'm sure that is a very, very painful injury. As Don mentioned, he had one knocked out last game.
Still appears to be in a great deal of pain and discomfort as he sits on the sideline. Now we'll move to the Montreal bench. Ian Mulford has come into the ball game to take his spot. That's the way the Rough Riders line up defensively, with Jones, Samples, Cherkis, and Baker across the front. Goree, Anthony, Manchuk backing them up. Williams and Dennis on the corners. Featherstone, Young, and McEachran completing the secondary. First and 10 from the 20. The Alouettes threatening again after that fine reception by Gaddis. Green got to the 15-yard line. He initially attempted to go inside and then was forced wide and picked up 5 yards. Roger Goree was the man who made the tackle. This is the second game for Green. He made his debut in the CFL against the Edmonton Eskimos.
They're once again spreading their formation out to the one side and running just an off-tackle play. Does a good job of slanting it to that sideline. Does a good job of pulling his feet out from underneath him by that defensive back coming up.
Second and 5 for the Alouettes. Detilio is in trouble. He is cut from behind and dropped back at the 20-yard line by Bill Manchuk.
And it was Bill Manchuk who was blitzing from his right linebacking spot, running him down from the backside. Detilio gets forced out of the pocket. Manchuk, coming from the other side of the field, just gets those feet and pulls them out from underneath him.
Well, I'm sure that Joe Scannella realizes with that wind advantage, he must put points on the board. And right now, they will be attempting the field goal. Don Sweet will be kicking as Walt Pozadowski took over from Jim Eddy after the Rough Riders went through the first 6 games of the season without a victory. Kick is up, it is good, and Montreal moves into a 4-0 lead. And with 7 minutes and 43 seconds remaining in the first quarter, let's pause for this timeout.
At one time, Canadian Pacific was primarily owned outside this country, in Britain, in the United States, and in a few other countries. In those days, Canadians were low man on the totem pole. But today, that's all changed. Today, over 70% of Canadian Pacific is owned by Canadians, and that certainly looks much better to us.
At Canadian Pacific, we believe what we are is important to you.
A nice weekend for football fans. Tomorrow afternoon, the Ottawa Rough Riders meet the Hamilton Tiger Cats in Hamilton. CBC Television brings you that along the network, so check the listings for the time in your area.
The Riders opting to scrimmage from their 35 rather than have Montreal kick off with that favoring wind, and Molly McGee on that little swing pass picks up 8, perhaps 9 yards.
That's a different type of screen pass that one normally sees coming from Ron Lancaster. It was almost a play screen where they shot that back out into the flat right away. Instead of faking anything, he just flares right now. Lancaster just flips it out to him, and he's got those linebackers and linemen out in front of him.
And one of those linemen was a little too close, as it appeared McGee tripped in attempting to make his cut.
335, 335, 135, 135.
Second down, Mike Strickland, the leading rusher, gets his first carry of the day for the first down. Bob Gaddis at that Montreal bench, and still indicating that that jaw is extremely sore, very tender. In talking with him prior to the game, he said that it was still rather sore from the injury last week. That blow he took when catching that pass certainly didn't help the situation. Lancaster attempting to swing it out. Junior Ayu charging through from his defensive end position, knocked it down.
One of the big changes this game is the location of the backs or the tight ends on the Saskatchewan Rough Rider team. It was Junior Ayu knocking that ball down, but getting back to the lineup change, the removal of Brewer is a tight end, and the insertion of Mazurek in there, they're often coming with a more spread out formation. May have some effect on their running game.
Lancaster is intercepted. Larry Utek picks it off to the 47-yard line. And that's the 23rd time this year that Ron Lancaster has had one of his passes picked off.
And it's good pressure from the outside as Lancaster is trying to sprint to that side.
Alan Brewer to gate J. Alan Brewer to gate.
And if we'll hold it right here, you notice Lancaster here is throwing off his back foot, almost falling backwards. Doesn't really get a lot of stuff in that ball. And that gives Larry Utek time to get in front of that pass receiver and create the first big turnover of the game.
Bob, I think the wind would take a lot off that ball too, wouldn't it?
Exactly the reason why he has to really step up into that pass.
Gaddis is back into the lineup, and what a reception he comes up with down at the 7-yard line. Preston Young was the man attempting to cover Bob Gaddis, but an excellent throw by DeTilio right on the money as Gaddis took it on the dead run.
And often this is something, especially at change of possession, that most quarterbacks like to do, and that's come back with the big play. That play probably came down from up here in the spotting box, too. Gaddis wide open on the post pattern. Dennis was playing him quite a long way off.
It's first and goal now for the Alouettes. The ball is at the 7. End zone throw, touchdown. Wide open is Green. Bob, was there a foul up in that secondary somewhere? Because Green was wide open.
We take a look at Green here lined up in the backfield, and he's going to make it look like a running play as DeTilio fakes the handoff, and he just slips out of that backfield and into the flat. There was nobody around him. The linebacker did not go with him. Makes it look awful easy.
So David Green scores his first CFL touchdown on that 7-yard throw from quarterback Jerry DeTilio, and the Montreal Alouettes have now moved into a 10-0 lead. Don Sweet will attempt the point after. The Alouettes lead by 11 with 4 minutes and 37 seconds still to play in this opening quarter. A heavy schedule of activity this Thanksgiving Day weekend in the CFL. Last night, of course, the Calgary Stampeders defeated the Toronto Argonauts 22-16. This game this afternoon featuring Montreal and Saskatchewan. And then tomorrow, on Thanksgiving Day, Ottawa is in Hamilton. That game will be seen on the full CBC television network. Don Chevrier, Russ Jackson, and Tom McKee will be in Hamilton for that one. And tomorrow at Commonwealth Stadium in Edmonton, the BC Lions go against the Edmonton Eskimos, and that's a very critical game for the British Columbia Lions. Jerry DeTilio, who was telling us prior to the start of the ball game that he was extremely nervous, has certainly looked quite sharp and quite confident through the first 10 minutes of this football game.
That scoring play, by the way, is one that is often used by offenses down close to the goal line. Most teams have to be in man-to-man coverage, which means that all the defensive backs are linked up with the various receivers, and it's usually the backs coming out of the backfield that are going to be open.
Well, that wind is posing a problem for Don Sweet. Normally, he just places the ball on the kicking tee, but because of the wind, he has asked Randy Rhino to hold the football for him. Kick sails into the end zone. O'Hara broke a couple of tackles and stumbles out to the 37-yard line. Craig Labatt was the man who finally brought him down. A 68-yard kickoff and a 39-yard run back for Brian O'Hara.
And if we'll run this forward just a little bit after the reception in the end zone, O'Hara will hold it right there. Take a look at the wedge that's forming to lead him up that middle. They get all those big, strong linemen out in front of him, and he just follows them and does a good job of keeping his balance and bringing that ball all the way out to the 37.
Well, Bob Gaddis is still favoring that jaw, still complaining of the hurt. However, he went back into the ball game and made a very key reception in that touchdown drive. Oh, good play by Junior Ayu, who caught Mike Strickland in the backfield.
Junior Ayu lined up on his defensive end position. All the line blocked down here, and nobody touches Junior Ayu. he just slices into that backfield and gets Strickland before he barely gets a hold of the football.
Slight loss on the play. It will be second and a little more than 10 for the Roughriders.
370.
Molly McGee trying to get out of some of that traffic that formed around him, and there almost appeared to be a bit of a mix-up in the exchange between Lancaster and Molly McGee.
That defensive line of the Montreal Alouettes is doing an excellent job of keeping Lancaster and his offense tied up in their own end. Field position, especially with a wind like this, is so very important.
Well, the last time McAreedy kicked into this wind, he only hit the ball 18 yards. He's standing at his own 20-yard line for this one. A better kick, but it also hangs up there. Randy Rhino is to the 50, to the 51. It'll be a first down for the Montreal Alouettes when we return right after this timeout.
At Canadian Pacific, we work in all four corners of the world. In transportation and resource development, we work from the Arctic to the Orient, from Australia to Europe, from South America to the Middle East. So you see,
there's more than four corners.
At Canadian Pacific, we work in all 8 corners of the world.
At Canadian Pacific, we believe what we do is important to you.
Ever get the urge to just let your imagination run wild? Open up your life with a GMC truck. Get out there and really do it. Like a GMC van that you can make into your own private world. A pickup maybe. Or for riding the high country, a Jimmy with 4-wheel drive. And if pulling power is what you're after, try hitching up to a GMC Suburban. GMC. Trucking's what we're all about.
This last punt, Craig Labette got a little bit of a hand in the back that helped Randy Rhino on down the field. That might have been called, but was overlooked by the official.
So at the 51, it's a first down for Montreal as we resume play here in the first quarter. A penalty flag goes down. Tilio throwing deep, and the intended receiver O'Leary could not catch up with it. But there is a penalty flag. Let's see what the infraction is. I believe the Saskatchewan Roughriders were offside.
I think that time that the
offside Saskatchewan,
that the left linebacker at the bottom of the line on our side lined up offside. He was actually within that 1-yard restraining line of the line of scrimmage. They've got to give that complete yard even when they line up.
So it will be repeat of the first down with now 5 yards to go.
41, man! Hut, hut.
Tilio looking for Peter Dalariva. Good coverage provided for the big tight end by Cliff Featherstone.
And that was super coverage. Got there just as the ball was arriving. It's a tough job trying to cover Peter Dalariva one-on-one.
Featherstone, a new addition to Saskatchewan. He came to the club out of Colorado State on a late cut of the San Diego Chargers.
Get an excellent block here by the lead back, cutting down that opposition and giving Jerry Tilio time to get outside. Here we see Featherstone just getting an arm up just at the right time.
2nd and 5, Montreal. Here's the drop. Green. He's stopped after an advance of about 1 by Erie Jones. Green, who has scored the game's only touchdown, failing to provide the Alouettes with a first down and keep the drive alive. The Alouette kicking unit comes in.
Don, you mentioned earlier about the importance of scoring points every time you have the ball when you've got the wind behind your back. And this is especially true when a wind is exceptionally strong, because come the next quarter when they switch ends, the force or whatever is going to be on Saskatchewan to do exactly the same thing.
Buono gets it up into that jet stream. It sails into the end zone, bounces away from Butler and through the end zone for a single point. 12-0. Montreal now leads Saskatchewan with 1:29 the time remaining in this opening quarter. That was a 78-yard kick by Wally Buono. And wind has definitely been a factor in the last two games here at Taylor Field. A week ago in a 20-19 victory by the Roughriders over the Calgary Stampeders. According to all reports, it was blowing even stronger than it is today.
That time Montreal got a little help from the goalpost. The receiver was not really ready to make the catch because he thought it might hit the goalpost.
Strickland running inside and into the arms of Glenn Weir. Pickup of about 4. It will be 2nd and 6 Saskatchewan. That Montreal defensive unit has Junior Ayu and Al Cowlings at the end positions. Weir and Judges are the tackles. Zapek, Cronell, and Buono. The linebackers, Burrow and Vernon Perry on the corners. Crump, Utek, and Rhino complete the secondary. On this second down play, Strickland finds the running room and gets out to the 50 for a first down Saskatchewan. Chuck Zapek came over to make the tackle.
Ball carriers 14, Strickland. Tackle made by 27.
Strickland, who was dropped by the BC Lions, having a big year for the Saskatchewan Roughriders. He's picked up 20 yards this afternoon. He leads the Canadian League in rushing with 1,042 yards.
Brian O'Hara makes a good block here, driving Chuck Zapek down inside, allowing Mike Strickland to get outside and on down the field. Good job by young O'Hara.
There's the pitch to Molly McGee. He for some blocking help, and he has another first down. Ridden out of bounds by Dwayne Crump over on the far side of the field, directly in front of the Alouette bench. And that could very well be the final play of this opening quarter. Time has expired on the scoreboard clock. There's been no signal from the field as yet. There is the signal, the gun, and that is the end of the first quarter. The Montreal Alouettes leading the Saskatchewan Roughriders by a score of 12-0.
If your car uses non-leaded gas and pings, knocks, knock, 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 or runs on after you turn off the key, you may need new Shell Super Non-Leaded, a high-octane non-leaded gasoline blended to reduce or stop ping, knock, and run on, and to give good mileage and clean, smooth-running performance. New Shell Super Non-Leaded. Beep, beep.
The summer green, twist and turn, go in between, flying free across the grass. You love the fun, you love it fast. You know what you could do. Come on and share a smile or two. It's a new way of doing what you like to do. So take a ride and share a smile or two. Flying free across the grass. You love the fun, you want to make it last. You know what you could do. Come on and share a smile or two. 'Cause when you're smiling, keep on smiling. Blue smiles along with you. Smiling along with you. Smiles with you. Smiling along with
A halftime show features grandstand quarterback, and you get a chance to second guess Jerry Keeling. Then Bob LaRose will give you the highlights of this first half of play. That's our halftime show.
And you caught a glimpse there of a portion of the unfinished south side stand at Taylor Field. And construction problems certainly have plagued both the Saskatchewan Roughriders and the Winnipeg Blue Bombers this season, as both teams were in the process of adding additional seats. There you see the unfinished stand, about 4,000 seats in that upper deck. The Roughriders would have dearly love to have had that additional seating for their home games this year.
And Don, the sun is going behind that stadium, and it's beginning to cool off here at Taylor Field.
With that wind blowing, it is indeed a little cool, and the Saskatchewan Roughriders are attempting right now to cool off Montreal Alouettes, who have been hot. And their means of doing that is trying to put some points on the board, with Steve Mazurek grabbing that throw from Ron Lancaster down to the 34.
And this has been the strength of the Saskatchewan attack all season, using their inside receivers over the middle. Steve Mazurek, usually a wide receiver, is running out of that tight end position, finds that opening right in the middle, is able to get it for the first down.
Back to the live action. Mike Strickland started wide and cut back inside to the 25 for a gain of almost 9.
Strickland, coming out of the backfield here, makes a good cut back against the grain. And if we'll hold it right there, oh, he just disappeared behind a group of players, but one of the defensive backs came running up to try and close off that running attack and gave Strickland that hole to cut back up into.
And the injured player is Carl Crennel, number 72. Perhaps from this view from the end zone, we can see what happens. Crennel was in the bottom of that pileup. Al played 5 games for Winnipeg back in 1971. He joined the Als in 72, and he has done an outstanding job at that middle linebacking position over the years. Generally regarded as quite a punishing hitter.
Don Crennel in that play seemed to catch a foot or something in the helmet as he went for the tackle, hit the ground rather hard, and I think he might have caught Mike Strickland's foot just as he was diving in to make the attempted tackle.
Well, the man who is directing our isolated cameras this afternoon is Brent Haywood, and he is in that particular role in the absence of Dr. Ken Nielsen. And Doc, if you're looking in this afternoon from your hospital bed in the Health Sciences Center, all our crew wish you a very speedy recovery. And we hope it is only a matter of days before you're up and around and jogging down the halls of the hospital. Mo Simovich says that's probably what caused your problems. But in all seriousness, Kenny underwent surgery on Friday, and we certainly wish you a speedy recovery and hope you're backing around real soon.
And here we see this play again. Crennel in the middle of the screen dives down to try and knock the feet out from underneath him and gets that knee and foot right in the head and knocked him a little silly for a time.
So now Jerry Friesen, who is a university star in Saskatchewan at the University of Saskatchewan in Saskatoon, moves into the middle linebacking position. Strickland across the 20. He has the first down. There is also a penalty flag on the play.
Dwayne Crump, the defensive back that was caught upfield in the last play, is again turned
Montreal offside, declined, first down.
Turned that play inside, but unfortunately for Montreal, there was nobody there to help him. We see him right there turning Strickland inside and forcing him upfield. But Strickland was able to drive for that big first down, and now they're inside the 20-yard line and threatening.
Wano has shifted to the middle, and Friesen has gone to the outside linebacking position in the absence of Crennel. Lancaster has McGee, and he's caught almost immediately by Jerry Friesen. A good play by the rookie linebacker. And there's Carl Crennel, the man who usually occupies the middle of that Montreal linebacking contingent, receiving treatment at the bench. This has been quite a year for injuries for the Alouettes. They currently have Joe Barnes, Michael Hamelick, Dickie Harris, Larry Lawrence, Phil Luke, John Olenchalk, Tony Proudfoot, Ken Starch, and Sonny Wade on the injured list. It's almost a starting team right there. Great catch by Freeman Johns down at the 2-yard line, and that will be a Saskatchewan first down. Raymond John, since arriving in Saskatchewan, has been a favorite target for Ron Lancaster.
Certainly has. In the 2 games he's played, he's caught 19 passes, and if you give Ron Lancaster the kind of time that we saw in that play to throw the ball, he's going to hurt you. And Freeman Johns has been the man that's been doing it at the other end. Here we see him on isolation. Does a great move to get away from the cornerback. Burrows catches the ball on the 2-yard line.
First and goal, Saskatchewan. Strickland tries to dive through. He was upended and cartwheeled and stopped short by, I believe it was Randy Rhino coming up from his safety spot. It will be second and goal from the 1. .58, the time remaining in the second quarter. 12-0. Montreal leading. Saskatchewan threatening to put its first points of the afternoon on the board. Strickland tries it again. He's in the end zone for the touchdown. And that's touchdown number 7 for this season for Mike Strickland, and the Roughriders are back in the ball game.
Mike Strickland on this play does it almost on his own. Whoops. He cuts back against the grain and drags Larry Utek into that end zone. But he went exactly the other way to everybody else. Everybody else was going to the right, and he slid off to the left. And when you're trying to hit somebody like Mike Strickland one-on-one and stop him cold, that's a pretty tough task to be given.
The extra point attempt is good, and it's now a 12-7 ball game. The Alouettes leading the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Over the years, the Roughriders in interconference play between these two teams have certainly dominated. However, in 76 and 77, the Montreal Alouettes have been the victors. 14-3 is the advantage. The Roughriders from Regina hold over the Alouettes in interlocking play. As a matter of fact, in the first 10 meetings, Saskatchewan won.
Don, you were talking earlier about the injuries. We'll have to come back to that after this message in a few minutes.
The kickoff goes to Mofford in the end zone. And to the 15-yard line and no further. A 68-yard boot and an 18-yard return. Well, let's see what the Alouettes can do going against that wind. They were able to score one touchdown.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Donnie. Happy birthday to you.
Affaganis, are you the wiseacre down in the sidelines?
That folks is alluding to Don Whitman's birthday coming up. I believe it's tomorrow, is it not, Don?
It's tomorrow, yes. The girls
Everybody was giving thanks.
I thought you'd enjoy that on this their 66th birthday tomorrow, Don.
Thanks, Ernie.
Okay.
Was that also the present down in the sidelines, Ernie? Charles Anthony coming in to make the tackle on David Green. Credit Green with a pickup of 6 yards. It will be 2nd and 4. Gainer the Gopher having a little fun on the sidelines, entertaining the fans over in Calgary. They've got Ralph the dog. These two are vying for attention during the course of the game. DeTilio runs it out for a first down, forced out by Roger Goree. Initially, it appeared as though he was going to throw. Then he saw that sideline open up, and he ran it out of bounds. And downfield, Bob Gaddis, the injured ball player. I'm not sure what happened to Gaddis in that particular play. Perhaps in the replay, we'll see what happened.
I think he gets another good shot in the mouth. Paul Williams here, using that elbow on him, and you see him grab it right away. Those things are so terribly painful. You cannot open your mouth even to breathe when you get hit in a spot like that. You get your jaw jammed back up near your ear. And that is unbelievably painful. I know. I've had it happen several times.
Gaddis going off to that Montreal bench again. He's been replaced by Mofford.
DeTilio did a very smart thing on that last play. He saw that Gaddis was the intended receiver and saw him get hit, and so pumped the ball and then tucked it under, and it certainly fooled all the people that were around Attilio, who thought he had thrown the ball and was able to sneak out of bounds for that first down.
It will be 2nd and 7 for the Alouettes. Ron Lancaster discussing strategy with the head man in Saskatchewan, Walt Pozadowski. Offord comes wide to the left on this 2nd down play. Pitch to Green. Green is upset as he crossed the 30. Featherstone is the man who came up to make the tackle, and Featherstone is down. As a matter of fact, there are 3 ball players injured, 2 of them from the Alouettes, Green and Yoakum, although Yoakum is now getting to his feet. Green is also up, and Featherstone is on his feet as well, so apparently everybody's okay.
Chuck McMahon here just makes an excellent block coming down and trapping the linebacker, Bill Manchuk, inside. Hold it right there. Look at the block, gets the pulling guards around the corner with nobody there, and Green gets upfield for a good gain.
Bobby, I think that Bill Baker came in there so aggressively, he ran into Yoakum, and they had a few words after. Nothing serious. They just discussed the fact that they both hurt just a little bit on that hit.
Well, they're out there for keeps, and when they start hitting for keeps, you can hear it up here.
That ball gets up into that wind and takes a bounce back to the line of scrimmage, and it's picked up on the run by Preston Young. Penalty flags all over the place. No yards will also be charged against the Montreal Alouettes, as Young ran it back to the 40. That was only a 16-yard kick with an 8-yard return. An alert play by Preston Young in grabbing that football as it was bouncing back towards the line of scrimmage.
Certainly was, Don, because Wally Buono was coming in there to try and recover his own punt, and very nearly did so.
Don, you get the feeling down on the field here that in this game, it's just going to be a matter of who can score the most points with the wind, because the wind now is dominating the game and dominating the strategy.
That wind, very definitely a factor, no question about it. Lancaster finding Molly McGee at the 22-yard line. He's just short of the first down.
Once again, Lancaster is getting all kinds of time to throw that football. He's going to the sprint out action, lots of time, and this time he zips that ball in. Molly McGee goes high in the air, is hit right away. Good tackle. But we give Lancaster that much time to throw the ball, he's not going to go wrong too often.
He's 5 for 7 so far today. He had 1 intercepted by Larry Utek, and that eventually led to a Montreal touchdown. Strickland running to the 15 for another Saskatchewan first down. Jerry Friesen came over to make the tackle. Really amazing the way both sides have been able to operate with the wind, but have really had their problems going against it. 7:47, the time remaining in this second quarter. We have a timeout. We'll be back right after this.
When you got it, you know it. When you got it, you show it.
It's when you slide in behind the wheel that it really hits you. Nothing you could really put your finger on. All the same, it's there. The pride and the passion Pontiac imparts to its breed of bold, personal cars. The 1979 Grand Prix. It's there. You can feel it.
Nobody's got it like Pontiac. You got it, Pontiac.
A reminder of the Hall of Fame induction dinner, Sunday, November the 5th. Sunday, November 5.
First down, Saskatchewan at the 15-yard line. Lancaster into the end zone. Walters is a touchdown. Joey Walters jumped high in the air to take the ball away for the major score. Jim Burrows was the man he beat.
It was man-to-man coverage because Montreal was coming with the blitz. We'll run this ahead just a little bit. We'll see, hold it right there. Linebacker Chuck Zapek blitzing from the inside. Gets in on Ron Lancaster, but Lancaster gets it away. Isolated man-on-man coverage, and Joey Walters comes up with a TD.
An excellent catch by Walters, and that Saskatchewan fan may have a little difficulty hanging onto that pennant. However, for the first time this afternoon, the Rough Riders are in the lead, 14-12. And Lancaster has looked sharp.
Here we see Lancaster again. He pays the price after throwing the ball, but a perfect throw. Walters going high in the air in front of Burroughs, and there's not much you can do about defending against a shot like that.
Joey Walters returning to the Saskatchewan lineup, and with the addition of Walters and Freeman Johns, the Rough Rider attack has something that it has missed most of the season, some speed from its receiving corps. Walters, who originally started his CFL career with the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, was released, came to Saskatchewan, and has played a variety of positions for the Rough Riders, including several defensive spots. Takes this one at his stride, having a little difficulty getting the handle. And he's dropped at the 18 by John Nelson. Nelson, a rookie out of the University of Manitoba, and I believe, Bob, you coached him last year.
That I did, Don. An excellent young football player, is primarily a fullback type, although he's also listed on the depth chart as a linebacker. He's showing a lot of hustle and a lot of desire out there, trying to make his spot known on that team.
For baseball fans, it's the Dodgers and the Yankees in the World Series, and you'll see it all on CBC television. It starts Tuesday, October the 10th, so check the listings for the time in your area.
Who are you picking, Ernie?
The Yankees.
I think we could probably have a small wager in that. I'm a Dodger fan. Green running the ball out to the 21-yard line. Charles Anthony made the tackle.
I don't think he's too worried about either the Dodgers or the Yankees right now, Don.
His only concern is the Saskatchewan Roughriders, who lead by 2, 14-12, after falling behind 12-0 in the first quarter. Looking, finding that receiver, an excellent catch at the 35-yard line. John O'Leary one-handed that ball as Roger Goree was defending on him and managed to hang on as he went down.
Young Jerry DiTilio stands in that pocket, a lot of poise, and fires that ball in, and O'Leary bobbled the ball but came up with it with that one hand for a big first down. And we talked about that wind. It's almost like playing uphill when you're going against it.
The shadows of the press box causing a few problems for our technicians as they attempt to follow the play. Green is out to the 42-yard line, and he did a lot of running to get that 5-yard gain. Cliff Featherstone was the man who came over to make the stop.
He also showed a pretty good straight arm there, standing Ken McEachran straight up and just running away from him. Still only goes for 6 yards.
Junior Ayu, who has had a series of problems during the course of this year with injuries. He missed about 5 games at the start of the year, as a matter of fact. Green on second down, trying to find that forward marker. He is stopped short. It may only be a yard away, however. And let's see if the Alouettes decide to gamble.
Green appears to be a very determined runner out there. Paul Williams came up from his cornerback position and tried to close off that quick pitch to the short side of the field, but he just ran right by him and right through his arms.
Well, the Alouettes opt to send in the kicking unit. I'm not really sure I agree with that call going against the wind. They're not going to move the ball too far downfield the way things have been going if the progression holds true here.
Guess that's why we're up here, Don, and they're down there in the field.
Quite true. Wally Buono has a big average, but he has only kicked once against the wind. Much better kick this time. It hangs up there for O'Hara. He bobbled it momentarily. A penalty flag goes down, and so does O'Hara at the 42.
O'Hara.
Carl Cornell suffering a neck injury, and he is wearing a rather large ice bag around that neck. There's also an injured Montreal player on the field, and it is McMahon who is down. It's just been a disastrous season for both these teams in terms of injury. We mentioned the people on the Montreal roster who are on the injured list. The Saskatchewan Roughriders have Lou Clare, Mike Dirks, Jerry Fellner, Steve Jelly, Ray Milo, Rod Parker, Bob Richardson, Cleveland Van, and James Wolfe on their injured list.
Chuck McMahon here ends up getting hit from the side by his own player and gets that left leg of his trapped underneath. And right now they're down in the field looking at that left knee. No, it's his right knee. Anyway, it's a knee problem. And it was his own player that time that ended up doing the damage. Don, I got the impression last night at the press conference there was a second contest going to see which team had had the most injuries and the most serious injuries between the two coaches.
Well, the Alouettes, of course, have had their biggest problems at the quarterbacking position. Back in August, we did a game in Winnipeg involving the Blue Bombers and the Alouettes. They started the game with Larry Lawrence. He was hurt. Then Joe Barnes was injured, and Jerry DiTilio finally came in. Number 3 quarterback in that ball game. DiTilio the starting quarterback for the Owls this afternoon. Penalty flag goes down as Lancaster attempts to swing that pass out to Molly McGee. Junior Ayu was applying a lot of pressure. I believe Junior Ayu was the man offside on the play.
Montreal 77 offside.
That is confirmed by referee Neil Payne. That's one of the reasons, I suppose, that Ayu was so successful in getting through and applying pressure to Ron Lancaster. That moves the ball out now to the 26-yard line. It will be 2nd and 5 as we look at McMahon being treated at that Montreal bench. For Strickland for a first down. Wayne Crump came up from his defensive half position to make the tackle.
We take a look right here at center Larry Bird firing out. They're just using a little trapping play, trapping motion. Really opened up that center as the defensive tackle drove down. Gave Strickland a big opening.
Up the middle, good job of coming back to the ball by Mazurek. Mazurek had started out as though he was going deep, and he came back for that football and provides the Riders with another first down.
One of the reasons that Bob Brewer was released, Coach Pozadowski said that he didn't really want to release him, but the insertion of Mazurek in there, and we'll come back a little bit more of that after this message.
All motor oils look alike. They feel alike. On the surface, you can't tell them apart. How can you tell which one is right for your car? Look here, of course, and here. But also, look here. Shell Super Multigrade is designed to meet or exceed your car's warranty requirements. So whether you change it yourself or see your Shell dealer, insist on Shell Super Multigrade from the Mileage Company.
When you're smiling, keep on smiling. Blue smiles along with you.
Well, we mentioned earlier that Jerry Friesen is from Saskatoon. He has his supporters here in attendance at Taylor Field this afternoon. Number 47 for the Alouettes, replacing the injured Carl Cornell and operating now at that middle linebacking position. Lancaster attempting to swing it out to Molly McGee. It will be 2nd and 10 for the Roughriders from their own 47. 2:54 the time left to play in this first half. Saskatchewan in front 14-12. The Roughriders must win today if they hope to keep alive their very slim playoff hopes in the Western Conference. Joey Walters at the 47-yard line of Montreal. Despite the fact he had slipped, he was able to grab the ball as he was going down.
Once again, Ron Lancaster is getting super protection from that offensive line. Joey Walters curling over that middle, found a big opening. Took Chuck Zapek to come over and keep him pinned to the ground.
1st and 10 Saskatchewan, now at the Montreal 47. Roughriders lead by 2. Again up the middle, and this time it's Missouri at the 35. And that's another first down.
It's very often at this time in the ball game that Lancaster really comes into his own, and once again that good offensive line work giving him time to pick out those receivers over the middle. This time it was Missouri.
Going wide, had to hurdle one of his own players, Steve Mazurek. Mazurek attempting to throw a block had gone down, and in the replay you'll see that Strickland had to jump over the prostrate form of his tight end.
Good call by Lancaster, hoping to trap that big rush coming at him. Here we saw Strickland having to leap over Mazurek, and then a crowd of those Montreal Alouettes dragged him to the ground.
2:01 the time left in this first half. Lancaster will try and put it in the air. Missouri again for another first down, and that's the pattern that they've been using very successfully in this drive.
Very successfully, and I think perhaps part of the reason is that Carl Cornell is no longer there, and Wally Buono just doesn't have quite the same range. Lancaster is, I keep saying it, getting all kinds of time to throw the football, and without the underneath coverage from your linebackers, it's tough as a defensive back to close off those little inside curl and hook patterns.
1:45, the time left in this second quarter. First down Saskatchewan from the 19. Again, Lancaster finds the money, and it's Joey Walters.
When you're hot, and Lancaster's dealing right now. This time it's outside to Walters, and again, it's just a little curl pattern to the inside, trying to use the speed to drive off that defensive back and then stop and come back towards the quarterback, which all of the Saskatchewan receivers are doing exceptionally well today.
On 2nd and 2, Strickland should be very close to that first down. Wally Buono made the stop. The Riders fell behind 12-0 in the opening quarter. They have put 14 points on the board in this second quarter and are threatening to score more. Been a request for a measurement, and it will also result probably in the Montreal trainer being summoned onto the field once again as Chuck Zapek is down on one knee. Although Zapek apparently is just taking a brief. No, that's Junior Ayu who is down on one knee. There's Zapek beside him. And apparently he's, well, it seems with Carl Cornell coming in and now the Montreal trainer comes onto the field that Zapek will be going out.
Don, take a look at that sign, and we thank everyone for, saying hello to us, but it's really directed at Roger Goree, who plays with Saskatchewan. His parents are watching the game in Calgary, and they're all the way up from L.A. So we'll welcome his parents, and, of course, Roger's having a pretty good day.
Well, of course, Roger Goree started his CFL career with the Calgary Stampeders. He was an all-star before being found expendable in Calgary and moving on to Saskatchewan, where he has played very, very well. Saskatchewan has certainly taken control of this game in the second quarter with 12 first downs. Chuck Zapek heading to the Montreal bench. This has been a rough afternoon for those Alouette players.
Yes, Junior Ayu was simply taking a breather with being down on that knee. He has not been injured.
Measurement revealed that Saskatchewan had a first down. It was first and goal from inside the 10. Strickland fighting to the 5. Caught there by Dwayne Crump.
Dwayne Crump has been doing this all game long, and if we'll run this forward just a little bit here, we'll see Dwayne Crump. Hold it right there. Here comes Dwayne Crump blitzing into the backfield from his defensive halfback position. Got a hold of Strickland and dragged him down. We can look for Ronnie Lancaster to take advantage of that.
Roger Goree, a linebacker looking on from the sidelines as a linebacker, Jerry Friesen, goes out for Montreal, and Zapek is back in. Lancaster throwing. Burrows almost had the interception in front of Joey Walters.
Burrows did a good job that time of using the sidelines as a helper and cutting off that pass, and if it weren't for Joey Walters, that would have been a big interception for Montreal.
Burrow has switched over to that left corner position after playing the right corner throughout most of the season. That move to the left side was made necessary with the return of Vernon Perry. So with 47 seconds left in this first half, the Riders will attempt a field goal. Bob McEready's kick will come from 13 yards out. It is good. The Roughriders now lead by a score of 17-12. And I'm quite sure that because of that very strong win, Montreal will not request a kickoff, but will opt instead to scrimmage from the 35. By the way, for all you auto racing fans, a big win in the Canadian Grand Prix this afternoon by Canadian Gilles Villeneuve. First and 10 Montreal from the 35. And then is driven back by Bill Baker.
Boy, that's dangerous, trying to take on Bill Baker open field one-on-one the way Green had to that time. Montreal coming out with what is commonly referred to as the wing set, taking both their wide receivers, putting them on the same side of the field, trying to run that man back into that strength. But that time Bill Baker proved to be the strength of the defense.
Final 30 seconds of this first half. The Alouettes looking at a 2nd and 14 situation. John O'Leary running it out very close to the 45-yard line with 16 seconds left. Cliff Featherstone is the man who made the tackle.
We talked about that wing set. Take a look on your screen. 2 wide receivers to the top, and the motion back going in that same direction. This time it's O'Leary with the ball. Good blocking up front. Gets a big hole, and that should give them enough time to run out the clock. I don't imagine DiTilio is going to try to go for too much more than that.
He glances back at the scoreboard to see how much time remains, and the seconds tick away as Montreal remains in the huddle. This will be the final play of the first half. Well, the referee, Neil Payne, signals that the Alouettes took too long in putting that ball into play. The time clock violation moves the ball back to the 34-yard line. And I would interpret that signal from Joe Scannella to simply mean drop on the football. That's exactly what he does as he follows orders from the bench. And that is the end of the first half. The Montreal Alouettes heading to the dressing room, trailing by 5 points after leading at the end of one quarter, 12-0. It is now 17-12 after 30 minutes of play. The Saskatchewan Roughriders leading the Montreal Alouettes. We talked during the course of the game about the number of injuries incurred this season by both sides. One of the injured Saskatchewan ball players is veteran tight end Bob Richardson. Right now, he's down at field level with Ernie Affiganis.
Right, Don, the rib injury is healing, and I asked Bob just a while ago, maybe you could repeat the time when you're going to get back into action, Bob.
We're not definitely sure on it yet, but it could be another 2 weeks at the most. I'm hoping it'll be before then, but you never know.
It's been a kind of a tough year because I remember you were earlier in the season standing along the sidelines with Bill Baker and watching it. Really, they couldn't use you. They thought they might under really a pressing situation, but you've had a tough year.
Yeah, it's been frustrating. A torn hamstring and now the broken ribs, so, geez, hope next year's a lot better.
Right. But your ball club started off slow, fighting that wind. The Alouettes jumped on it, but they're right back in the lead now. That's a good comeback.
Really, it is. The thing you hope to do against a wind like this is move the ball a little bit, run it along the ground, get a few first downs, because when you're punting, as you can tell, you don't get very many yards out of it. And Ronnie, there's no other guy in the league that can utilize what he's got better. And the second quarter just showed it.
Bob, when you're playing in the prairies, you have to get used to the wind. Do you ever get mad at it and want to swear at it?
Oh, all the time. And it's not just, you should check it out in the wintertime, Ernie. It's real fun then.
But you have to play with it, and that's it.
Oh, yeah, that's it. You practice with it all week, and you play with it on Sundays when you're at home. So you get used to it.
Bob, I hope you get back in very soon. Thank you very much for being with us.
Thanks, Ernie.
Okay, we'll return with our halftime show right after these messages.
You've got to trade off the kick you used to get out of driving for the comfort of your family. You've got it wrong, because you can do right by them and still put yourself in a Pontiac, like the 1979 Parisienne, mid-size Le Mans, or the compact Phoenix. If you're going to get it right. After all, when it comes to cars, you know who's got it, don't you?
Nobody's got it like Pontiac's got it. Nobody's got it like Pontiac's got it.
Music today. The Kendalls headline Superstars in Country Music. A fantastic new album.
The Pittsburgh Steelers.
Larry Gatlin, Freddie Fender, and Johnny Duncan.
Danger.
Carol Baker, Don Williams, Willie Nelson, Mel Tillis. The greatest line of superstars in country music. Available wherever fine records are sold.
Grandstand Quarterback is brought to you by Sony of Canada Limited, manufacturers of quality home entertainment products.
Oh, the things people do to decide between two TV shows they want to watch. Well, now you don't have to decide anymore, because with Sony's Betamax video recorder, you can actually watch a show on one channel while you're videotaping a show on another channel. That way, you get to see both of them, so you don't have to worry about dreaming up new ways of deciding.
Okay, first one to the TV set chooses.
Second-guessing a quarterback is now a national pastime in Canada,
And on this edition of the Grandstand Quarterback, you get another chance to second guess. This time, it's Jerry Keeling, who quarterbacked the Calgary Stampeders in the Grey Cup in 1971. Jerry Keeling played 15 years in the CFL from 61 through 75, 12 for Calgary. In 1971, he had a great year and led Calgary to the Grey Cup final against the highly favored Toronto Argonauts, the first appearance in the final for them since 1952. Jerry, looking back on that game, which was played in Empire Stadium, there was a lot of pressure on Calgary and Toronto to win because the Stampeders hadn't been to a Grey Cup in a long time either.
That's right, Ernie. There was pressure on both of us because Calgary hadn't won a Grey Cup since 1948.
Right.
And I think Toronto hadn't won a Grey Cup since the early 50s. And Calgary had gotten known to be the team that choked under pressure. Every time we got to the Grey Cup, we couldn't win it. So we were kind of out to prove that we could finally win a Grey Cup this year.
Well, in Vancouver, it was a sellout. There was a big game. It's the first quarter now. So let's go back and see what happened. The score is 0-0. It's early in the game. Midway through the first quarter, the Big Z punts to Jim Cillier on the 53-yard line. So Calgary has possession of the ball now.
As you know, Ernie, it had rained all week, and we were kind of anxious to throw the ball in a hurry before the field got even worse, and we got real lucky on this first play. They called it incomplete. The second play, I rolled out and hit Rudy Linderman, excellent Canadian receiver we had for a first down. Handed off to Jesse Mims on an end sweep. He got good blocking, got down to about the 25-yard line.
He's good back.
Real good. Another handoff to Jesse, and he breaks a few tackles, moves on down closer. Then I believe this pass was incomplete to John Henderson. Now, this play is one that we run a lot. They clear Rudy out through the middle, and Herm Harrison comes in behind him, behind the linebackers.
So you had a 7-0 lead in the first quarter there over Toronto on that touchdown play.
Then Toronto comes back with Theismann throwing a long pass to Mel Prophet, and Terry Wilson knocks him out on the 10-yard line.
Prophet was sort of a favorite receiver at that time for Theismann, wasn't it?
Joe threw a lot of passes to him. I think here he comes back to him again and tries to hit him. He almost makes a great catch. In the next play, Joe rolls out again and tries to hit Leon McQuay in the end zone. Terry Wilson makes a real good play, knocks the ball away.
So they're forced to kick there, and on third down, Ivan McMillan kicks a field goal for Toronto, and they trail 7-3. And Toronto picked up another point before the half ended. It looked as though they were coming on strong midway through the third when Theismann fumbled the snap, and it was recovered by Calgary on the 55-yard line. And look at the slop there.
Yeah, you can see the ball's getting wetter. It's getting harder to handle all the time. I think most of the scoring was done in the first half of this game. See, we get the ball back, and
they're looking to throw here.
Yeah, we're throwing just about every down in this first half. Hit John Henderson on a little quick out. Now, this is a great catch by Rudy Linderman. He jumps up in the air, catches it, and the man slides right under him. Then Jerry Shaw, the other wide receiver, makes a good block. He breaks him down to about the 7 or 8 yard line, I believe.
Good-looking play there.
I tell you, Rudy and Jerry were probably two of the best receivers that I've ever had opportunity. Well, we had lots of good receivers on that team.
So this is first down, man, on the 5.
Quick pitch out to Hugh McInnes. Didn't work. Lost a yard on that play.
So now it is second down, 6 yards to go. You lost a yard on the first play. You have options of trying to go up the middle or around the end or even throw in that situation. There's still lots of time left in the football game. So those are your options. Do you run it up the middle, run it around the end, pass? What do you do? Jerry, what did you do?
Let's have a look. Yeah, I called a draw play to Jesse Mims, and the guards, Granny Liggins and Billy Roy, got real good blocks on their men, and Jesse went right up the middle into the touchdown.
What made you pick that run up the middle? What did you see?
The obvious thing was for us to roll out, either pass or run the ball. And this was not actually a draw, but more of a roll draw. We started like it was going to be a sprint out pass. The halfback set up, and I just handed it to him as I went by him.
And you went on to win the football game, the Grey Cup, 14-11, as Toronto put on a little splurge near the end there.
Right. We got a little lucky with the McQuay fumble there at the end of the game.
What would have happened had he held on the ball? They probably would have got a field goal out of it.
Probably would have got a field goal. We'd have probably gone into overtime.
And that, well, you would have had a barn burner there.
Right.
So for all of you who entered the contest and you picked up the middle as your choice of what the quarterback would do, you are the winners. Jerry, you live in Enid, Oklahoma now. What do you do back there?
Well, my brother and I have an appliance and TV business in Enid. It's one that our dad started a long time ago, and we've taken it over now. And just trying to live a nice, easy, good life now for a change.
You look in great shape. You're working out?
I play a lot of basketball. But I tell you, we really enjoyed coming back to Canada and visiting some of the friends that we made a lot of good friends in Canada.
Jerry Keeling, nice to have you with us.
It's nice to be here.
Okay. Join us again tomorrow on Grandstand Quarterback, when our guest will be Sam Etcheberry.
Grandstand Quarterback is brought to you by Sony of Canada Limited, manufacturers of quality home entertainment products. Atwood, Ontario, where Shell did a study on home heat. Different types of homes, a variety of heating problems that insulation alone couldn't solve, like improper heat distribution, furnaces that needed servicing, and faulty caulking around windows. The result, the Shell Home Heat Book. It's full of tips on how you can keep your home comfortable and cut down on heating costs. One in a series of helpful books, free, from Shell. Shell helps.
Come on, come on, come on.
Bonjour, I'd like to take you on a tour of Monte Carlo.
Come to Monte Carlo. Isn't this where you belong?
You see, there's more to Gillefleur than hockey sticks. And there's more to Monte Carlo than fine performance. I like the way it handles. I like the way it looks. Monte Carlo, isn't this where you belong?
Here comes the hottest double disco album of the year, Disco Fire. All original stars, original disco hits, Star Guard. Eruption. Tuxedo Junction. High Energy. Michael Zager Band. Key Collection, Samantha Sang, Andre Gagnon, the Sunshine Band. The Disco Fire sets off a sizzling heat wave. Ain't no doubt we are here to party. Emotion. Grace Jones. Disco Queen Donna Summer. From the winner's circle, K-Tel's Disco Fire is a red-hot double album of original disco hits, available wherever fine records are sold.
A very entertaining halftime show at Taylor Field. Bands from various centers throughout Saskatchewan entertaining the better than 20,000 spectators here for this Montreal-Saskatchewan game. And to the delight of the fans, the Saskatchewan Roughriders are out in front by that 17-12 margin. The first quarter was all Montreal. The second quarter, all Saskatchewan. And Bob, in that first quarter, the Roughriders got into difficulty early when Ron Lancaster threw an interception into the arms of Larry Utek.
Yes, Lancaster gets fairly good pressure here from junior IU from his defensive right end position. Number 77 has to get out of that pocket and throws a little off balance, and Larry Utek breaks in front of the intended receiver, sets Montreal up with the first big turnover of the game, and Jerry DiTilio did something with it right away.
DiTilio, on the very first play after the interception, went to Bob Gaddis, who has been injured a couple of times during this ball game, a recurrence of the jaw problems he originally incurred last weekend against the Edmonton Eskimos. But he makes a fine reception down on the 7-yard line.
Yes, he came off the bench. That was the first play after he had been injured. Came off the bench, made the big play, and then the very next play, DiTilio finds his young running back, Green, who slipped out of the backfield, and the linebacker was blitzing instead of picking him up as he came out of that backfield, and he was lonesome for Montreal's first touchdown and only touchdown of the first quarter.
12-0 Montreal in the first quarter with that favoring wind. The Roughriders, with the wind at their backs in the second quarter, came alive and picked up 17 points. And Lancaster held a very hot hand in that second quarter.
He certainly did. He came out and took that wind advantage, marched the ball down, got all kinds of time. Excellent job by his offensive lineman, giving him time to throw all quarter long. He finds Freeman Johns on the 2-yard line. Excellent catch, excellent throw, and that turned the tide as far as Saskatchewan was concerned.
And then it was Mike Strickland into the end zone on the second attempt of the Roughriders from that 2-yard line for the major score. And Strickland, with his 7th touchdown of the season, the leading rusher in the Western Conference, with 1,042 yards coming into this ball game. Joey Walters, activated for this ball game, also made a great end zone reception for the second Saskatchewan touchdown.
Lancaster was under a blitz by Chuck Zapek, was able to get the ball away, and when you're isolated one-on-one in the end zone, it's tough to defend against a guy of Joey Walters' speed and stature by yourself. And Joey Walters came up with a big touchdown, and as a result, they've got the lead at halftime.
Be interesting to see, Bob, what the teams decide to do as far as that win situation is concerned in the third and the fourth quarter. Who's got the option going into that second half?
Saskatchewan, as the home team, will have the option coming out, and I would not be surprised if they kicked off into the wind so that they could have possession of the wind in that most important fourth quarter, which means that they would give Montreal the ball and the wind at the beginning of the third quarter.
And during that halftime break, both teams, I'm sure, have been on the telephone to the weather office to find out whether conditions will change, whether they will remain the same, or just what will happen in this second half. We'll be back with that second half right after we pause for this timeout.
In transportation, as in architecture, there is always a new way we express ourselves. Oldsmobile's expressions of full-size cars, Delta 88 and Holiday 88. Luxury cars with quiet comfort, and both may be equipped with an available V8 diesel. Holiday 88, a sporty feel with the generous room of a full-size car. Delta 88 and Holiday 88. Have one built for you.
It's special. It's special. Tastes the best
Special Light. Do you know how refreshing this great Canadian beer can taste? When it's brewed with all the flavor, the enjoyment, everything, it has less than 99 calories in the bottle.
Taste the best Special Light.
Taste Labatt's Special Light.
It's special. Taste the best Special Light.
As you see, the word Rough Rider being spelled out by the marching bands on the playing field at Taylor Field, playing the Rough Rider theme song, and the fans standing and applauding as they are savoring this Rider lead by 5 over the Montreal Alouettes at the halftime break.
Saskatchewan certainly shows the domination that they've had. It was all Montreal first quarter, all Saskatchewan second quarter, and Saskatchewan had the better of it, having 15-7 first downs, leading also in rushing and passing for total yardage of 193 to 149. And it's the domination of that wind that causes the team to plan their attack, whether they have it or whether they're going against it, that makes the difference.
In the first quarter, Montreal started with a single point when O'Hara conceded a punt by Wally Bueno, then a 27-yard field goal by Don Sweet, the touchdown by DeTilio, converted by Sweet, and then a punt by Bueno from 78 yards out for a 12-0 Montreal lead at the end of the first quarter. In the second quarter, the Rough Riders with a touchdown by Strickland, converted by McElready, then a touchdown by Joey Walters on a 15-yard pass from Lancaster, again converted by McElready, and then late in the quarter, a McElready field goal from 12 yards away, providing Saskatchewan with that 17-12 lead. As we mentioned over the years in interlocking play, the Rough Riders have quite an advantage. They've won 14 and lost just 3, although the Alouettes have won the last 2 years.
First down.
Right now, at center field, Ron Lancaster conferring with the officials and obviously informing them of the decision the Rough Riders have made as to field condition, as to which end they will take. And now the Alouettes are doing likewise, being informed. Carl Cornell and Ian Mofford talking to head referee Neil Payne. Yes, I'm quite sure that Ron Lancaster could run for premier in the province of Saskatchewan and get more than his fair share of votes. The big election taking place in this province on the 18th of this month. Walt Pozadowski hired on an interim basis back in August following the release of Jim Eddy, who started his second season as head coach of Saskatchewan, but the Rough Riders fell into those problems with injuries very early in the year, and they also fell victim to 6 other teams as they suffered through the first part of the season. It's very difficult to come back, but the Rough Riders are still alive as far as that playoff chase is concerned. The Rough Riders have made as to field condition, as to which end they will take. And now the Alouettes are doing likewise, being informed. Carl Cornell and Ian Mofford talking to head referee Neil Payne. Yes, I'm quite sure that Ron Lancaster could run for premier in the province of Saskatchewan and get more than his fair share of votes. The big election taking place in this province on the 18th of this month. Walt Pozadowski hired on an interim basis back in August following the release of Jim Eddy, who started his second season as head coach of Saskatchewan, but the Rough Riders fell into those problems with injuries very early in the year, and they also fell victim to 6 other teams as they suffered through the first part of the season. It's very difficult to come back, but the Rough Riders are still alive as far as that playoff chase is concerned. Even the old goalposts at Taylor Field are shuddering a little under that strong breeze from the west.
That might be an advantage to the field goal kickers, depending on whether they're out or in at the time he kicks the ball.
The Rough Riders, as Bob suggested they would, have opted to kick into the wind to start this third quarter. Ball is taken by Mofford. Mofford is out to the 32-yard line. Cliff Featherstone came in to make the tackle. Joe Scannella, a team with a 6-6 record in his rookie year as head coach of the Alouettes, replacing Marv Levy. Coming downfield is Cherkas going head-to-head and trying to get into that tackle, which he does. He was fighting off Randy Halsell, member of the special team. He started the year with Winnipeg. DeTilio completing the pass to John O'Leary at the 50-yard line, and I think Charles Anthony, the middle linebacker, initially deflected it. Again, DeTilio had all sorts of time.
And did exactly what he did in that first quarter. Stood back in that pocket, allowed his offensive lineman to give him the protection, delivered the ball, and Anthony went high in the air, just got a hand on it, and ended up bouncing right into O'Leary's hands. Those are the kind of breaks that you've got to have if you're going to win a ball game.
First down, Montreal. They're at their own 52. John O'Leary is going nowhere. At the midfield stripe, he's driven back by 3 Saskatchewan defenders, including Anthony. That's Saskatchewan defense. Erie Jones and Bill Baker are the Yans. Ron Cherkas and Samples are the tackles. Roger Goree, Charles Anthony, and Bill Manchuk back them up. Paul Williams and Steve Dennis are on the corners. Featherstone and Young inside, and Ken McEachran is the safety. It's 2nd and 7 for Montreal from midfield. DeTilio now will run it. He's got a lot of open field ahead of him. All the way down to the 27-yard line. Ron Cherkas finally caught up with him.
DeTilio this time got forced out of the pocket. Cherkas puts on a good move in that backfield, and to show the kind of determination that he's got, he ends up chasing him all down the field. And DeTilio had that amount of room because his wide receivers kept going deep and had the defensive backs turned around watching them. As a result, DeTilio got 27 yards in that pickup.
Back to the live action. This time John O'Leary finds it. He's met by Featherstone right at the line of scrimmage. Featherstone came up quickly to fill, and he has been a late season addition and a welcome one for Saskatchewan. A late cut of the San Diego Chargers. Number 24, Cliff Featherstone, via Colorado State, just 21 years of age. He could be a valuable addition to this Saskatchewan team. Little swing pass to Green. Roger Goree came over to make the stop.
Take a look at Dan Yoakum at the top of the screen here. As this play unfolds, Bill Baker is working against him, and he almost literally tackles him on the play to allow that amount of time for DeTilio to get the ball away. DeTilio, if we look at it from the ground, just swings that pass just over top of the onrushing lineman. Green only manages 2 yards, however.
Don Sweet will attempt another field goal, this time from 33 yards away. It's good. That cuts into the Saskatchewan advantage. It's now 17-15. The Riders in front, and we'll be back with the Saskatchewan first down play right after this.
You never know exactly when you'll be glad you bought your winter Michelins. Maybe it'll be on a tough, icy curve. Or it might be on a snow-covered hill. But sometime this winter,
Daddy!
you'll be glad you didn't compromise on your tires. And just as glad that we don't.
Only the finest for my husband, Harry. He's got a Black & Decker router. Harry knows.
With the Black & Decker router, you can make handsome, decorative edges easily. You can trim laminates for countertops and get smooth, clean edges. Make them fit together the professional way.
Harry, how'd you ever manage before you got your Black & Decker router?
I don't even want to think about it.
Get a Black & Decker router.
You'll wonder how you ever worked without it.
Cliff Featherstone taking a well-deserved rest at that Saskatchewan bench as the offensive unit scrimmages 1st and 10 from the 35. Draw play with Strickland for a gain of 1, no more, as he was in the grasp of Gord Judges.
There are two basic styles of defensive linemen. One is somebody who will just try and run over you play after play. The other is one who hits and then tries to read. Gord Judges certainly did a good job that time of taking on the offensive lineman and then slipping away from him and grabbing Strickland and pulling him down.
2nd and 9. Mazurek up the middle again for another first down. And that play has been most effective for the Saskatchewan Roughriders.
I talked last play about the difference in linemen. If we take a look at Glenn Weir on this play, he's the Charger type. He just goes flying into that backfield, does a good job, gives his man a slap and an arm over, got into that backfield, but Lancaster, with his deep drop, had the time to find Mazurek over the middle.
Saskatchewan first down at the 48, swinging it out to Molly McGee, trapped by Judges and dropped back at the 45.
That time it was Chuck Zapek who did a good job of holding up the interference, kind of playing cat and mouse with Strickland behind the blocker, and was able to hold him up until Judges came over to polish him off.
9:48 is the time left in this third quarter. Saskatchewan leading 17-15. Zapek shaken up in that first half. So was Carl Cronell. Both of them are back in linebacking positions for the Alouettes. On 2nd down, Lancaster setting up the screen to McGee. The Alouettes read it pretty well, and they stop him at the 51. Glenn Weir, from his defensive tackle spot, came over and was one of several Alouettes who were prepared for that attempted screen.
And you've noticed that Lancaster, other than that one pass to Mazurek that was a pass over the line of scrimmage, has been trying to get the ball outside quickly to his running backs as they come out of that backfield. Here's Carl Cornell on this last play, and Larry Bird just drives him right out of the play as Molly McGee cuts back. Good job by Larry Bird, the center for the Saskatchewan Roughriders.
McGreedy with a driving type of kick that Randy Rhino had some difficulty fielding, and Rhino was stopped at the 25 by Alda. A 34-yard kick and a 1-yard run back.
It's important for punters when they're kicking against the wind to try and keep that ball low into the wind, hopefully get a little bit of a wobble on it so that it's either hard to catch, or if it does hit the ground, to give it a crazy bounce and a roll. And that 34-yarder, I believe, is the longest punt against the wind by either team today.
Rhino is way out in front in terms of total yardage in punt returning this year, with 638 yards coming into this ball game. The ball is fumbled by Green, recovered by Saskatchewan. Goree is the man who came up with the ball. Let's take another look at Green losing control.
Detilio runs a counter play, and I think they had trouble getting that handoff between he and Green. Detilio faked the wide pitch and then handed back to Green, and at a closer look, that ball just kind of bobbles right out of it, slips through the line, and Saskatchewan pounce on it for their first down and big turnover in this third quarter.
Saskatchewan opting to stay on the ground with Molly McGee driving to the 28. 8:04 is the time left in this third quarter. On the bench, Roger Goree, the man who pounced on that Dave Green fumble for a very important turnover, as the Saskatchewan Roughriders have possession deep in Montreal territory, and most importantly, they are able to use up some of that time going against the wind.
Scoring against the wind is generally a bonus, and the team that can do it will certainly have a big advantage.
Walters steps out of bounds with a first down as the Roughriders are inside the 20. 7:33, the time left in this third quarter. Saskatchewan leads 17-15. We'll be back right after this.
John Labatt's new Extra Stock. Premium quality brew. Something extra to commemorate our 150th anniversary. Extra Stock has extra flavor, extra smoothness, extra taste satisfaction. It's mellow to the taste and smooth going down. John Labatt's new Extra Stock. Premium quality brew. Something extra for our friends from Labatt's.
And grandstand quarterback Sam Etcheverry will be the quarterback tomorrow on that Eastern game. And for those of you who were following earlier, and last week, remember Russ Jackson was the guest. If you said up the middle, you were correct.
And if you called a swing pass from Ollie McGee, you're correct as well, Ernie, as he goes out of bounds. He fumbles the football, but I believe a teammate was there to recover. Freeman Johns is the man who seemed to get that ball.
Don, I believe the officials called the ball dead before the ball came loose, but it was not enough for the first down. Good swing pass here. This time McGee was wide open, the linebackers having dropped back off, and it's simply a matter of McGee being able to outrun the tackler. UTEC had the first shot, and actually the ball did come loose before he got to the ground, but I believe the officials in their spotting of the ball called it dead. A fumble.
Second down, Strickland fighting for a first down. He'll be very close. He's across the 10. It appeared as though in trying to cut through that very slight opening, he collided with offensive guard Ralph Galloway. But it is a first down, Saskatchewan. It's now first and goal for the Roughriders from the 9-yard line.
Strickland tries to cut back once he gets the ball and does run right into Joe Miller, the offensive tackle, but he had enough momentum and enough second effort and drive to get that first down.
Lancaster up the middle just as UTEC came shooting through. The blitz was on. Randy Rhino was the man who knocked it away.
That almost resulted in an interception. We'll run this forward just a little bit. Lancaster dropping in. And we'll hold it right there. Here comes Larry Utek from his defensive back position, blitzing. Lancaster had to unload it. Rhino almost with the big interception. That's twice they've almost intercepted inside their own 10-yard line. Almost don't get you anywhere.
Paul Posadowski was saying that Lancaster has only been sacked once in the last 6 games. A veteran quarterback such as Lancaster just doesn't get trapped back there too often. Here's the touchdown throw to Missouri. As the Alouettes were coming again, Lancaster unloaded into the end zone to Steve Missouri.
That ball was right on the money against this wind. Got a good rush here from Glenn Weir. A little bit of looping action with his other defensive tackle, but Lancaster, enough time, gets that ball to Missouri in the deep corner of the end zone. Here's Missouri running kind of a stutter pattern and then breaking to the corner. And he just outruns Dwayne Crump to that corner.
McNaridi's point after attempt gives Saskatchewan a 24-15 lead with 5:53 the time left in this third quarter. .24-15 is the score. .24-15 is the score. Steve Missouri grabbing that throw from Lancaster in the end zone for the Saskatchewan touchdown. A very big play for the Roughriders. They used up a lot of that time going against that very strong northwest wind. Mofford on the kickoff, starting out from his own 10. Out to the 30 and no further. Cherkis was the man who pulled the feet out from under the Montreal kick return specialist, limiting his run back to 21 yards after a 56-yard kick. Well, the Alouettes probably have to strike quickly and do some damage here in the time remaining in this third quarter, and with that favoring wind. Attilio to the sidelines, intended for McMahon, incomplete. He was being covered by Preston Young. Tomorrow afternoon on the full CBC network, you'll see the game involving the Ottawa Roughriders and the Hamilton Tiger Cats. 24-15, Saskatchewan leads Montreal here this afternoon. And wherever you're looking in today, we hope you're enjoying the telecast, and we hope you have a very pleasant Thanksgiving weekend.
Attilio's using the same action that they've been running the ball a lot, especially against the wind, but this time lays it outside. Chuck McMahon just unable to hold on to the ball.
Attilio again has a lot of room, and he has the first down. And attempting to make the cut, he slipped at the 45. Had he been able to stay on his feet, he may have gone quite a bit further.
Attilio, when he's had to pull that ball down and run with it, has had the advantage, I suppose, of having called the right play and having all his pass receivers gone deep. And that makes a great stretch of greenery out there with nobody defending. And he's been able to ramble for a fair chunk of yardage during the course of the evening, or the day.
First and 10, Montreal at the 45. 4:26 the time remaining in this third quarter. Attilio throwing for Gaddis. Incomplete. Knocked away by Paul Williams. That was just a stride away from being 6. Gaddis almost had to slow down for that ball. It seemed as though Attilio threw it just a little behind him, or he was gone.
And often it's going with the wind. It's just as tough to throw the ball. Paul Williams here cuts in front of Gaddis just at the right time and thought he should have had the interception. Attilio, I've noticed, is using play action on almost all of his passes. Instead of just dropping back, he fakes a draw to one of his backs. And then on this play, he's not.
He's in trouble. Samples gets through to Jerry Attilio. And the Alouettes will be forced to kick it away. Samples, of course, was acquired back in August from the Hamilton Tiger Cats in a trade for George Wells. He's played well for the Riders.
Once again, Attilio has sent all of his receivers deep. Has to pull that ball down when that pass protection breaks down. And it's Mike Samples coming up with the big tackle. Quarterback sack. All those defensive linemen play for it. QB sack.
Excellent kick by Rhino, as O'Hara had to go all the way back to the 5-yard line. He gets out to the 17. O'Leary and Craig Labatt were downfield to make the tackle. That was a 62-yard punt. I believe I may have said Randy Rhino, the man who punted that ball. It's Wally Buono, of course. And with that wind, Buono has really hit that ball in both the first quarter and again here in the third. Pitch to Molly McGee, and he gets a couple of yards before being upset at the 20. We have 3 minutes and 5 seconds left to play in the third quarter. Saskatchewan leads 24-15. We'll be right back after this.
I have an appointment.
Nice car, mister. You pay extra for everything?
No, sir. The 79 Chevette comes very well equipped.
Look here, girl. AM radio.
Oh, and the reclining seat, Papa.
I see a console and a fancy new grill.
Hey, Pop, it's got radio white wall.
Okay. First we buy Chevette, then we have celebration. 79 Chevette's a lot of little car for the money.
The challenge of the unknown. Some men go out of their way to find it. But one thing they won't take a chance on is the way they look. So they use Brill Cream. Brill Cream conditions hair, keeps it looking healthy, natural. Keeps you confident you're looking your best. Brill Cream, for men who'll take a chance on just about anything but the way they look.
Samples, of course, was acquired back in August from the Hamilton Tiger Cats in a trade for George Wells. He's played well for the Riders.
Once again, DeTillio has sent all of his receivers deep, has to pull that ball down when that pass protection breaks down. And it's Mike Samples coming up with the big tackle. Quarterback sack. But all those defensive linemen play for it. QB sack.
Excellent kick by Rhino, as O'Hara had to go all the way back to the 5-yard line. He gets out to the 17. O'Leary and Craig Labatt were downfield to make the tackle. That was a 62-yard punt. I believe I may have said Randy Rhino, the man who punted that ball. It's Wally Buono, of course. And with that win, Buono has really hit that ball in both the first quarter and again here in the third. Pitch to Molly McGee, and he gets a couple of yards before being upset at the 20. We have 3 minutes and 5 seconds left to play in the third quarter. Saskatchewan leads 24-15. We'll be right back after this.
I have an appointment.
Nice car, mister. You pay extra for everything?
No, sir. The 79 Chevette comes very well equipped.
Look here, girl. AM radio.
Oh, and the reclining seat, Papa.
I see a console and a fancy new grill.
Hey, Pop, it's got radio white wall.
Okay. First we buy Chevette, then we have celebration. 79 Chevette's a lot of little car for the money.
The challenge of the unknown. Some men go out of their way to find it. But one thing they won't take a chance on is the way they look. So they use Brill Cream. Brill Cream conditions hair, keeps it looking healthy, natural. Keeps you confident you're looking your best. Brill Cream, for men who'll take a chance on just about anything but the way they look.
Not only is the seating area unfinished at Taylor Field, the press box is not completed either, and we're somewhat exposed to the elements as we describe the action at Taylor Field this afternoon for you. Molly McGee had some difficulty in hanging onto that ball and taking the pitch from Lancaster. Larry Utek came up very quickly to force that play, and Saskatchewan faces a 3rd and 9 situation, and they must punt.
Don, I think it was Ernie that was saying that it's supposed to be nice and sunny this afternoon, but things seem to be getting a little cooler and a little cloudy here now.
Our French confrères describing the game on the CBC French network. Pierre Dufault in the booth next door. Well, the Alouettes will get excellent field position following this McAreedy punt. Randy Rhino picks it up, and he is downed almost immediately at the 33 by John Nelson. Nelson had shifted back and forth between Saskatchewan and Winnipeg this year. He started the season with the Saskatchewan Roughriders, went through training camp with them, was released, picked up by the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, released by Winnipeg, and back to Saskatchewan he came, and he has been on the roster for the last couple of weeks. Montreal with a first down just inside the 35 of the Roughriders. Complete for John O'Leary down at the 8-yard line. They rule the 7-yard line as the mark where he stepped up.
This time Montreal is coming out in a single setback, one back in the backfield. Jerry DiTilio is going to bootleg the ball around to the backside. John O'Leary just running out of that slot back position now, goes to the sidelines, makes a big catch. As Don said, they've got to score now to lose win position.
First and goal for the Alouettes. The penalty flag goes down. Paul Williams is called on the interference infraction against Bob Gaddis. I think that was a good call. Not much doubt that Williams appeared to come up over the back of Gaddis.
Very good call, and the official was right in the right spot to make that call. DiTilio rolling out, got good protection, fired that ball for Gaddis in the corner, and Williams did get a good hand on it, but he also had his left arm on Gaddis's back. Here we see it in isolation. Williams comes up, but gives him a bit of a shove with that left arm around the side of the head, and that's what the official called. Gaddis is certainly showing a lot of determination coming out and playing in that football field again.
First and goal for Montreal now from the 4-yard line. Make it the 3.5. O'Leary inside, stopped short of the goal line. And 1:10 is the time left in this third quarter. You know, I said that was a good call on the part of the officials on Paul Williams. I wouldn't want to try and tell PW that, particularly seconds after the flag flew. He was a little upset with the call.
Paul Williams is a fiery competitor, and he believes that he can do no wrong.
Second and goal from the 1. DiTilio keeps, he's got the touchdown. DiTilio made a good fake to John O'Leary, and he had a clear path into the end zone as the Alouettes again cut into that Saskatchewan lead.
Smart move by the quarterback, stuck that ball in his hip, and even got a bit of some of our cameraman a little confused there, but he stuck it on his hip. All those guys firing straight ahead. The defense came up to meet them. DiTilio simply had to scoot around the corner for the touchdown.
He outran Featherstone and Manchuk into that end zone for the major score. It's 24-21 with 36 seconds remaining in this third quarter.
I think those plays are the cameraman's nightmare when they start hiding the ball and they can't find it.
Don Sweet with the point after, and now it's a 2-point ball game. Saskatchewan leading 24-22.
Here we see that last touchdown again. DiTilio faking that ball to his back, tucking it on his hip, rolling around to his right, celebrating Montreal's touchdown.
36 seconds, the time left in this third quarter. And it has cooled off somewhat here at Taylor Field. At the start of the ball game, despite that very strong wind, the sun was shining brightly, but now it has clouded over. Jerry DiTilio accepting congratulations for that major score from his teammates at the Montreal bench as Don Sweet prepares to kick off for the Alouettes. Talking to Sweet before the ball game, he was remarking about the wind and the problem it poses for kickers. He said there's probably nothing worse. In rain, in snow, on a frozen field, conditions are equal for both sides, but in wind conditions, you really never know how that ball is going to react. O'Hara from the goal area. An excellent job of running it back out to the 40-yard line. A 66-yard kick and a 41-yard return with Ty Morris making the stop on Brian O'Hara.
That's twice during this ball game that O'Hara has brought that ball deep out of his own end. Field position is the most important part of a ball game, especially when there's a strong wind blowing. And when your specialty teams can provide you with good field position to start your offense from, it certainly makes it a lot easier for them.
First and 10, Saskatchewan at their own 40. Draw play with Strickland. Gain of 2, not much more. He was in the grasp of Al Cowlings, the defensive end. It will be 2nd and 8 for Saskatchewan. Wally Buono with an average of 50 yards per punt so far this afternoon. A 78-yard single in that opening quarter. Buono also doing quite a job at that outside linebacking position. He's having a good year. This will be the final play of the third quarter. On the sidelines, Joey Walters going high in front of Burrow once again.
That was a dangerous pass out in that flat. If the wind had held the ball up at all, Burrows might have had the interception. That completion, close enough for a measurement of the first down. We'll see whether it was after this message.
Oh, the nightmare of waking up.
Good morning, Howard.
Now end the nightmare of waking up with the dream machines from Sony. First, they wake you gently. Then they send you back to sleep to finish your dream. Sony thinks the nicest way to get up is to a dream. End the nightmare of waking up. The dream machines from Sony.
The American Indian has always respected the eagle, its strength, its freedom to sail, to soar, master of the sky. To fly like the eagle is no longer a dream. To fly to the lands of the Native American or anywhere else in the world on a Boeing 747. The world's favorite way to fly.
Dee-dum, ba-dum, bum, bum, ba-dum, bum, 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 ba-bum, bum, ba-dum, bum, bum, dee-dum, dee-dum, bum, bum, ba-dum, bum, bum.
Don Whitman along with Bob LaRose and Ernie Afghanis and our entire CBC television crew as we start the fourth and final quarter. Lancaster throwing to Mazurek at the 40-yard line. Wally Buono made the tackle.
That's been the bread and butter play for them all game long. Lancaster getting good protection, stepping up into his pocket and finding Mazurek over that middle. He's done an excellent job of delivering that ball, and Mazurek has certainly done a commendable job as a tight end in this game, receiving that ball in heavy traffic over the middle.
Gain of 20. Lancaster in difficulty. He was being pressured from both sides with Ayu coming from the right and Cowlings from the left, and they converged at about the same instant just as Lancaster threw it away.
And they also had pressure from linebackers. They had everybody coming at him. A lot of pressure coming in there, and Lancaster just gets that ball away before Al Cowlings takes him to the ground.
Now the Alouettes have made a defensive change as the Roughriders huddle on 2nd and 10. Friesen has come into the ball game, and Gordon Judges has gone out from his defensive tackle spot. You see Judges, number 75, at the Montreal bench. Almost picked off by Larry Utak as Johns was overthrown by Lancaster. And it will be 3rd and 10 for the Roughriders.
Friesen came in for Judges, lines up as a down lineman, but then will step back off to help the underneath coverage. Only 3 linemen rushing. Johns was wide open on the play and was simply overthrown by Lancaster.
Gainer the Gopher, the Rider mascot. The 47-yard field goal attempt. It just made it. Had that crossbar been an inch or so wider, it probably would have stayed out. It just trickled over the bar. As a matter of fact, the official standing right underneath, somewhat hesitant before finally raising those arms.
You saw Lancaster's expression with McAreedy after the kick, kind of shrug his shoulders and say, we'll take it. McAreedy didn't really hit that ball all that well, but with that wind, all you got to do is get it up in the gales, and it'll take it for you, and that's what happened.
Talking about hitting that ball, McAreedy did quite a job of doing just that on August the 27th when he split the upright 7 times for a new CFL record as Saskatchewan defeated the Toronto Argonauts. DeTilio going for broke with Gaddis. Incomplete. Knocked away by Paul Williams. Again, Gaddis had beaten his man initially, but with that ball hanging up in that strong breeze, he had to wait for it. And what a tremendous throw by DeTilio into that wind.
Just a super throw into the wind. He used that little bit of a bootleg action, faked a running play to the one side, then rolled out with his guards in front of him, rears back and fires that ball. And as Don mentioned, Gaddis was behind him, but had to hold up a little bit. Paul Williams got a hand on it. Gaddis, in a valiant attempt to make the catch, almost got the ball on the second chance.
Ron Cherkas, 24-year-old defensive tackle in his 3rd year with Saskatchewan. Down on one knee, and he'll be replaced by Brian Hillebrand. Okay, Ernie.
Don, we just would like to remind everyone of Hockey Night in Canada. It begins on the 14th of October. The New York Islanders will be in Toronto to take on the Maple Leafs. That will be on the network, and for Quebec, it'll be Colorado playing in Montreal against the Stanley Cup champion Canadiens. That's the 14th of October, next Saturday.
It's going to be a busy day for Harold Ballard. He has his Hamilton Ticats in action in the afternoon against the Argonauts, and then his Maple Leafs in action at night against the Islanders. However, I'm sure Harold and King Clancy will be attending both events. David Green is taken out of bounds by Roger Goree.
DeTilio is going to similar play action that Lancaster was using, going against the wind, flipping that ball out. This one was a little risky in that it was behind, and if Green had not caught the ball, it would have been a free fumbled ball. Goree, right on the spot, forced him to that sideline. Some of his friends came along to help Green out of bounds.
Toronto's kick hangs up in the wind. O'Hara takes the ball. A penalty flag goes down. Randy Halsell appeared to encroach upon that 5-yard area. Halsell, number 58, just now getting to his feet and heading to the Montreal bench. That was a 26-yard kick with a 6-yard run back.
No yards, Montreal, number 58. First down.
As the penalty is explained by referee Neil Payne, will enjoy even better field position as the penalty moves the football to the 49 of the Alouettes.
Just on the edge of our screen, we see Randy Halsell coming into the picture, certainly not 5 yards away that he has to give before that ball is caught.
12:10, the time left. Riders lead by 5. Lancaster swinging it out to Monty McGee. He could not hang on to the ball. Ron Lancaster, who next weekend will reach that magic mark of 40 years of age.
This has been a very good play for them all afternoon. A little bit of a wobble on the ball, but so often a running back will take a peek up before he catches that ball to see how many of those linebackers are coming at him. And in that case, there wasn't anybody, but he couldn't catch the football.
Strickland fought his way to the 43-yard line. He was dragged down there by Wally Buono. Bob McAreedy and the kicking unit come back into the ball game, indicating another field goal attempt. Another injured Saskatchewan ball player. Molly McGee was shaken up.
I believe Molly McGee on that play was caught with a bit of a knee as he was trying to block against Big Junior Ayu, the defensive end. Caught a bit of a knee as he went down to try and chop his legs out from underneath him. We catch it left, top left-hand corner, right-hand corner here. You see McGee going down. Junior Ayu trying to protect himself. I think caught him with a bit of a knee. Gave him a little headache.
50-yarder by McAreedy. It's wide, and the Alouettes, Randy Rhino, concedes a single point. 11:24 is the time left in this fourth quarter. Saskatchewan leads by 6. We'll be back with the Montreal first down right after this.
This newspaper ad, this agreement, and this card may change your entire attitude towards automotive buying. The newspaper, it announces the most important option in General Motors history, the GM Continuous Protection Plan. The agreement, it gives you 3 years or 60,000 kilometers of major mechanical and electrical repair protection for your 79 GM car or light-duty truck in non-commercial use. The card, if you have a vehicle breakdown, show this to any GM dealer in North America. You're covered according to terms in the agreement, which include labor plus allowances for towing and rental car. Continuous Protection Plan. Read about it. Buy it. Put it in your wallet. The most important option in General Motors history.
Molly McGee's problem, Don, is that he had some dirt kicked in his eye, and for the last couple of minutes, they've been trying to wash it out. He'll be okay.
They're still working on it at the Saskatchewan bench. That wide field goal attempt going for a single point means that Montreal scrimmages at the point of last scrimmage. This one is picked off by Preston Young. Brought down at the 15-yard line by David Green. Well, that could be the ball game right there. A very timely interception by Preston Young as DeTilio went to the sideline.
DeTilio using that play action again, trying to hit that outside receiver. Ball gets held up a little bit in the wind. Young makes the catch and returns it 39 yards. Excellent run after he caught the ball and just didn't have the horses to outrun Green. Finally brought him down, but it's first down on the 15-yard line for the Saskatchewan Roughriders. Here we see it again. Great timing by Young, who just stepped in front of the intended receiver.
Back to the live action with Saskatchewan at the 15. Lancaster going for a throw. Incomplete. Oh! Molly McGee went crashing into that fence along with Vernon Perry, our Dwayne Crump. And fortunately, both of them are okay.
This is the one thing about this field that every receiver especially dislikes with a passion. See McGee going head first into that fence. Crump right after him. Fortunately, he was still standing when he went for it. Was able to keep his balance.
Preston Young, the man with that very key turnover, delighted with his effort. And the Rough Riders are now 2nd and 10 from the 15. Lancaster throwing incomplete, intended for O'Hara in the end zone. And another field goal attempt will be upcoming by Bob McAreedy. Well, the Rough Riders have had opportunities here in this 4th quarter to put it away. Lancaster unable to deliver the strikes that he was doing with such consistency in the 2nd quarter.
I think Ronnie has reason to be a little upset with himself because he's certainly been getting all kinds of time to throw that football. And as we said earlier, even when you're throwing with the wind, it's not the easiest thing to do because you start taking allowances for what the wind's going to do. And if it's not gusting at the time, or it is, it has a strange effect on that football.
That field goal attempt is successful, and the Riders move into a 31-22 lead. Montreal will scrimmage 1st and 10 from the 35. Earlier we talked about the Hall of Fame induction dinner on November 5th in Hamilton. And inductees to be honored this year are players Kay Vaughn and Ron Atchison, and builders Paul Dojak and the late Harry McBrien. It's also expected that Jackie Parker will be a special guest that day. Jackie Parker just recently was named the player of the quarter century in the Shenley balloting. And speaking of the Shenley Awards, they are going to be making the initial selections across the country very soon. The first ballots are in the mail, as representatives in all categories from each team are named, and then the field is narrowed to the top players east and west. And then, of course, during Grey Cup week, the Shenley Awards are announced in Toronto. DeTilio to Peter Dallariva at the 50. Dallariva still struggling out to the 54. I believe they'll rule that play was dead at about the 50-yard line.
Don, there's an interesting note here. That last field goal kicked by McAreedy, apparently that is the first time a Saskatchewan Rough Rider has kicked more than 25 field goals in a single season, and that broke the old record, which is held by Jack Abenshon. That's a Saskatchewan record.
All right, Ernie.
That last play, Peter Dallariva received the ball, does a good job of staying on his feet afterwards, and DeTilio has been able to get outside on a lot of his rolls and bootlegs, and that gives him enough time to get that ball away.
It's picked off by Ken McEachran. Well, the Alouettes are forced to put that ball in the air as they trail by 9, and DeTilio, in trying to go up the middle, again has it picked off, this time by Ken McEachran.
He was trying to get that ball to Larry Smith, who was not able to get a hand in front of McEachran to knock the ball down. McEachran really cementing that lead with that interception.
Strickland picks up about 1 and not much more. Junior Ayu was one of the people in on the stop. 7:45 is the time left in the ball game. Saskatchewan leads 31-22.
John Labatt's new Extra Stock, a premium quality brew commemorating our 150th anniversary. Extra flavor, extra smoothness, extra taste satisfaction. It's mellow to the taste and smooth going down. John Labatt's new Extra Stock. Something extra for our friends from Labatt's.
Baseball fans, remember Tuesday, October the 10th, it'll be World Series action on ABC television, the Yankees and the Dodgers once again. What a series that'll be. Starts Tuesday. Check for the time in your area.
Foul play with Mike Strickland. He's got the first down.
That kind of determination that Mike Strickland showed on that particular play is one of the reasons why he has gained over 1,000 yards and the only rusher so far to have done so. He breaks a lot of tackles in a majority of the runs that he makes simply by his determination.
He's approaching the 100-yard mark again this afternoon. He has 84 yards. His little tape job being done on Dan Yoakum at the Montreal bench.
I wonder if he uses odor readers.
180, 180. Ready, set, hut, hut.
Wide open on the sidelines is Joey Walters. There's also a penalty flag.
I think Montreal will be called for face guarding on this, grabbing a hold of the face mask. Somebody ran by Walters and stuck out a hand and caught his face mask. Lancaster was under a lot of pressure again from Junior Ayu. Was able to get that ball away, and Walters was able to...
Montreal incidental face masking. First down.
Here we see Lancaster getting big pressure from Ayu, but gets the ball away, and Walters had isolated himself on the sidelines. I think it was Crump who just slid that hand across the face mask, so it won't be a big penalty. An incidental infraction, I believe, only results in another 5 yards tacked on. I believe it was Wally Bueno that caught his fingers in his face mask.
Is at the 23-yard line. It's a first down, Saskatchewan at that point. .6:51 is the time left in the game. The Riders lead by 9, and they're threatening to add more. Intended for Missouri. He was covered by Crump.
That time the pass was a little behind Missouri. Had to stop and try and come back for it. Lancaster certainly doesn't look quite as sharp this quarter as he did in that second quarter, where he marched the ball up and down that field with those short, crisp little passes. Still is not getting a very big rush from that defensive line. It's going to the quick sprint outs, quick release passes.
Walt Pozadowski, the coach, said last night that if necessary, Lancaster might put the ball in the air 50 times this afternoon. Well, he's thrown 31 and completed 20 of them. Walters again and again. The Riders come up with a first down as Vernon Perry finally dumps Walters to the turf, and there is also a penalty flag on the play. I think unnecessary roughness is going to be charged against the Alouettes.
Don, I think you would call that unnecessary frustration.
Montreal, number 27, unnecessary roughness. First down.
And that play was one that was downfield. It was not Vern Perry on Walters who had made the catch, but it was another incident over in the middle of the field, I believe between Crump and Larry Bird, the center, who were having their own little tete-a-tete away from the play.
So it is a first and goal from the 6-yard line. Molly McGee is upset at the 5. Junior Ayu is the man who came in from his defensive end spot with a little help.
Don mentioned earlier the kind of game that Wally Bueno, the right corner linebacker, has been having. He does a good job in this play. There's a lot of bodies coming out. Ralph Galloway being the first one to take him on. He ducked underneath it and made the play on Molly McGee trying to come around that corner.
Second and goal from just outside the 5. Lancaster is knocked down by Burrow, intended for Johns. Well, in this fourth quarter, the Riders have had many opportunities to put a touchdown on the board, but they've been forced to settle for field goal attempts by McAreedy, and they'll try it again.
Jim Burrow does a great job in this play. Freeman Johns running the pass pattern, gives him a good chuck as he comes over the goal line, and then breaks on the ball, and once again almost comes down with the interception.
Once again, McAreedy is successful, and it's now 34 Saskatchewan, 22 Montreal. 2 interceptions in this fourth quarter have been costly for the Alouettes. They desperately are trying to put a drive together, and on both occasions, those interceptions have snuffed out the drive and enabled the Roughriders to go in for field goals by that man, Bob McAreedy.
And Don, in a different climatic setting where the wind wasn't so strong, you might say that having to settle for field goals would be a detriment to the Saskatchewan Roughriders, in that they might feel that they've been losing a little bit of momentum. But in this case, with the wind at their back, it's certainly an uphill struggle for the Montreal Alouettes with the only 4.5 minutes remaining in the game.
Tilio throwing to Larry Smith. Smith at midfield to the 54 of Saskatchewan, and several Montreal receivers in that play were wide open.
And a great job once again by Jerry Detilio standing in that pocket. There was a fairly good rush by that defensive front four of the Saskatchewan Roughriders, but he stood in there and let his offensive lineman take care of them and delivered that ball right on the money. That, by the way, was Larry Smith's first catch of the afternoon.
Off the fingertips of Chuck McMahon, he was being covered by Steve Dennis. It will be 2nd and 10 for the Alouettes. Dennis activated for this game after missing the season because of injury.
Young Chuck McMahon has been having a few problems trying to catch that football in his first start as a wide receiver for the Montreal Alouettes. He's been able to get a hand on a couple of them, but has yet to come down with a completion in this game.
At the Saskatchewan bench, Joe Miller is receiving a little treatment. A lot of ball players have been shaken up this afternoon. They've all been able to return to action. Complete to O'Leary. It should be a first down as he is at the 43 of the Roughriders. And 3:10 is the time left in the ball game. We'll be back with the final minutes of this ball game right after this.
Introducing the patented Mark collar from Arrow. Revolutionary, and that's fact. It's the first collar ever shaped to fit the human neck. Until now, men's collars have been cut like a tube. The Mark's ingenious shaping is like a comb. Result, a comfort like you've never experienced before. A new, crisp look with the neckband out of sight. The patented Mark Regular, and now the patented Mark Spread. Only by Arrow.
If your car uses non-leaded gas and pings... Bing, 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 bing. Knock, 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 or runs on after you turn off the key. You may need new Shell Super Non-Leaded, a high-octane non-leaded gasoline blended to reduce or stop ping, knock, and run-on, and to give good mileage and clean, smooth-running performance. New Shell Super Non-Leaded. Beep, beep.
The opposing coaches, and both of them looking very serious, although Pozowski must feel somewhat more comfortable and assured than does his counterpart at the Montreal bench. After all, the Riders lead by 12, but Montreal has a first down at the Saskatchewan 43. The penalty flag is down. The pass complete to Larry Smith down at the 9-yard line.
Don, that almost has to result in a holding penalty, but Jerry DiTilio's waving his hands.
Saskatchewan declines. First down.
Offside Saskatchewan, so it's a big first down inside the 10-yard line for Montreal. Kind of strange because the flag was thrown by the field judge, not by one of the linesmen on that play, down in the middle of the field. So it must have been somebody lining up offside.
And now it's a first and goal for the Alouettes. 2:43, the time remaining. DiTilio throwing. He catches the ball right at the 1-yard line. An excellent diving catch by Gaddis.
DiTilio going to that sprint out action to keep that charge away. Shoots out a little kind of wobbly pass, but he was able to bring it in. And here we see Gaddis on isolation, breaking to that sideline, beating Paul Williams. I'm really impressed with Gaddis. Caught 4 balls and barely is able to open his mouth. The injuries he's getting.
O'Leary has the touchdown, and the Alouettes are right back in this ball game, although only 2 minutes and 30 seconds remain to be played. And it's interesting that in this second half, the team going against the wind has scored the touchdown.
Here we see it again. O'Leary is taking that little handoff from the 3-back backfield and pulling his way into the end zone. Good offensive charge of that line, opening up the hole for him.
The Alouettes had lined up initially as though they were going to try for the 2-point conversion. But now Don Sweet comes into the ball game, and they'll line up in a kicking formation with Sweet trying to narrow that gap to just 4 points. Make that 5 points. Penalty flags are down. The convert attempt is successful, and I believe the infraction was against Saskatchewan.
Saskatchewan offside, decline.
34-29, a 5-point differential. The sun now breaking through the clouds that have dominated the skies for the last hour or so.
Don, that sun's going to be really treacherous on the far side of that field with anybody trying to look back into it to catch the football. It's not one thing that's getting you, it's something else. Here's Bob Gaddis on that sideline. Still looking like he's in a lot of trouble from that mouth and jaw injury that he's had, but still feels well enough to crack a smile.
2 minutes and 30 seconds remaining, and almost certainly the Alouettes will be attempting a short kickoff. They marched, as you see, 75 yards for that touchdown by John O'Leary.
I think credit has to be given to DiTilio, too. Earlier in the quarter, he's thrown 2 interceptions, but that has not deterred him at all in putting that ball in the air. He fired strikes in that drive.
Sweet has 9 men lined up to his left. Only 2 people are on the right-hand side. There's the short kickoff attempt. The ball is high. It was either Randy Rhino or Crump who got up there. Crump is elated, but I think it was Randy Rhino who deflected that ball out of bounds. So now We've got quite a finish coming up. The Alouettes have a first down. The ball is at the 40 or the 52 of Saskatchewan.
Don, I think Paul Williams felt that he was the one that knocked the ball out of bounds, and really, I guess it's only a replay that can really tell us for sure. It almost seemed that the ball went over everybody and went out of bounds, but somebody might have got just a fingertip, and the official was right there to make the call.
Fans are in somewhat of a rebellious mood as a result of that call. Here's Detilio looking for some blocking help. He gets one, he gets another, and down to the 37 for a first down, Montreal. Bill Manchuk made the tackle.
Detilio must have a good 20 yards average every time he's carried that football. He's been able to find the openings and take off when that opening has presented itself. He's got his receivers going deep once again. That hole opens up, and he's got O'Leary out in front of him. To give him a block, gets another one further downfield. Big pickup.
Back to the live action. Here's the draw play with Green, and Green is to the 32. 2:06 is the time left in the ball game.
Much to his credit, Detilio has been calling all his own plays. I thought a very smart one there, going with the draw play after he's been passing it almost every down.
Now we're into the final 2 minutes. It's 2nd and 5 for the Alouettes. The ball is at the 32. Detilio throwing it up, and it's almost picked off by Ken McEachran, intended for Peter Dalla Riva.
And that time, Roger Goree was the man putting the pressure on him. Goree blitzing from his linebacking position, coming right up the middle. Ball goes high in the air, batted around, but nobody can bring it down.
Well, the ball game could hinge on this play right here. It's 3rd and 5. Montreal. Gaddis goes wide right. McMahon comes out to the left. Detilio, he's got Larry Smith, touchdown! The Alouettes on a 3rd down gamble get the touchdown, and what a strike from Detilio to Larry Smith. Only his 2nd catch of the day.
And what a catch it was. Everybody expecting Detilio to go short for the first down. Instead, he throws it up over the top of everybody. And Smith is wide open, got behind those defenders. Detilio, instead of looking for a 6-yard first down, goes for the bundle, and it pays off for Montreal.
And now the Alouettes are in the lead. What a finish to this ball game. 1:44 is the time remaining. Montreal 35. Saskatchewan 34. And the Alouettes are going for 2. The end zone. Oh, Gaddis couldn't hang on. The ball was there. And Bob Gaddis, who had made some sensational catches so far today, could not hang on as he was wide open in the end zone.
And those were 2 important points for Montreal that would have made the difference between a single point and a field goal, and that ball was right there, hit him in the shoulder pads and bounced out. Fortunate for Gaddis. Still lots of time left in this ball game with 1:44, and the old master Ronnie Lancaster has been known to march a team in less time than that and score. They need a single point to tie it, and a field goal can win it.
And of course, with that win, Bob McAreedy could hit it from close to midfield. Jerry Detilio, the hero of the moment at least for the Montreal Alouettes, coming through in the final moments of this ball game to direct Montreal to a pair of late touchdowns.
Cover this chicken!
I think it's safe to say there won't be a short kickoff on this play time.
Don Sweet lining up. 1:44, the time left. Montreal in front, 35-34. O'Hara starting out from the 10. All the way to the 41-yard line.
O'Hara has been terribly impressive all day long in his punt returns. He gets it in full stride and just burns up the field. His most important return of 29 yards right here near the end of the ball game puts him in pretty good field position. Here we see him just taking that ball. He disappears into a big crowd, pops out the other end, still running.
Back to the live action. Lancaster trying to set up, and Bob alluded to that sun a little earlier, and Mike Strickland over there had the sun, I'm sure, shining directly in his face on that throw from Lancaster. It appeared as though he was having difficulty with it.
Also seemed as though he jammed his finger on the play trying to make the catch, and Molnar has gone into the game to replace him as he comes out seeking some medical attention to his hands.
1:28 is the time left. It's 2nd and 10. Riders need a couple of first downs to get within the field goal range. To Molnar at the 49-yard line, just short of a first down. Carl Cornell made the tackle.
Once again, Lancaster going to his backs out of the backfield over that center. Linebackers had dropped deep to cover those curl areas. Molnar simply slipped out of that backfield, got 9 yards. Now it's 3rd and a big 1 to go.
Minute 19 is the time left, and the clock is running. Molnar appeared to have enough before he was driven back, but let's see where they place the ball. It will likely require a measurement. Referee Neil Payne signals for the yardsticks to be brought in.
And that was some hit on Molnar, who has been known over the years for his strength in running on those short yardage plays. He got popped just as he got to that first down area and driven back. The all-important measurement says first down.
First down.
First down from the 51. The block play with Wally McGee. McGee crosses midfield to the 54. 1:04 is the time left, and now the clock will start when the referee moves off the football. And the Roughriders going without benefit of a huddle. Second down, the little swing pass to McGee, fumbles the ball. He could not hang on. An incomplete pass on that little swing pass to Molly McGee. 57 seconds left in the ball game now.
Molly McGee has really had some problems today holding on to those little swing passes out of that backfield. He's been open all the time on them. Just hasn't been able to seize the handle.
So now it's a big third down gamble for the Roughriders. This game, their season, rests on what happens here. Complete to Freeman Johns. He's at the 45. 52 seconds left.
This time Freeman Johns, the wide receiver, does an underneath pattern. He cuts back underneath the clearing middle receiver, makes the big catch, gets the first down.
Back to live action. The ball is at the 46. Steve Molnar stopped right at the 45.
A lot of fans are saying, why are they running the football in this situation? But Lancaster feels that the Montreal defense is probably looking for a pass, and he's trying to catch them with a running play.
Intended for Walters, incomplete. A good hit by both Zapek and Burrow.
A big hit by Burroughs, who got there just as the ball did and jarred it loose. Joey Walters had made a good attempt to catch the ball.
Don Sweet has come into the ball game replacing Utek, and Sweet is going to go back into the end zone along with Randy Rhino.
It's the old kick the ball, kick the ball, kick the ball.
The field goal attempt will come from 52 yards away. Wally Buono is also back there. The kick is up. It is wide. In the end zone. It's picked up by Randy Rhino. He's going to try and get it out. He won't make it. Rhino thought he could get outside running for that corner. He did not make it. And Joe Scannella, I think, is upset with that one because he had sent Don Sweet, Wally Buono, and Rhino back into the end zone, and I'm sure Sweet and Buono were under instructions to kick it back out.
Don, I think it was a smart play to try and get out, because even if they had kicked the ball out, there's still 22 seconds to go. If they had punted the ball, Saskatchewan would have most likely retained possession and probably in better field position to kick their field goal.
Because of that wide field goal attempt going for a single, Montreal scrimmages at the 44. The point of last scrimmage for Saskatchewan. So Montreal, with one pass, might get in position here. Got it. Dallariva at the 44-yard line of Saskatchewan. 16 seconds the time left. What a ball game Jerry DiTilio is having. Starting only his third game, the Canadian quarterback has the Alouettes in position to perhaps win this ball game. And it looked several times as though it was lost. Throwing it out of bounds, stopping the clock with 10 seconds left. Many of the fans had started to exit with about 4 minutes remaining in the ball game when the Riders appeared to be comfortably in front. And now many of them are congregated along the sidelines. DiTilio bringing the Owls back with 2 late touchdowns. And then, of course, the single point by Saskatchewan has tied the score at 35. Second and 10. There's some complaint from center Doug Smith. Apparently he has asked for a new football to be brought into play. Almost intercepted. Dennis stepped in front of that throw intended for McMahon with 5 seconds left. Well, now the Alouettes send in their punting unit. But kicking against that wind, I don't really like the chances of Wally Buono putting it in the end zone.
Don, I don't either, and I was surprised that they sent Buono out, but I see they have made that change. Don Sweet kicking the ball from a lower trajectory probably has as good a chance of getting that ball in to the end zone. And even if Buono could have gotten it into the end zone, they probably could have got it out very easily. This way, if he puts it through the uprights, it's 3 points regardless.
Ball is going to be well short. A penalty flag also goes down at the 20-yard line as O'Hara grounds the football, but there is a flag on the play.
Don, there was a lot of confusion with ball players from Saskatchewan Roughriders running on and off the field, and I'm wondering if they had too many of them out there.
They had the extra player out there, so the Alouettes will get another chance. Let's listen.
Too many men, Saskatchewan.
There was a lot of confusion, not knowing whether it was the punt team or the field goal team out there, and there are different members on these teams for both sides. Saskatchewan got caught with somebody not being totally awake, had that extra man on the field, and now they'll get to try it again. And this time it's Wally Buono who's going to try and punt the ball into the end zone.
Well, time has run out. Again.
No, it's not.
They make the change. Buono and the punting unit initially came in. Now they go back to the bench, and Don Sweet again moves out.
Maybe they'll hope they'll put an extra man on the field again now.
This kick coming from 40 yards away. The kick is up. It is wide. And in the end zone, Brian O'Hara runs it out. He is stopped at the 8-yard line, and this one ends. Saskatchewan 35, Montreal 35. What a finish to this football game, with the Alouettes and the Roughriders ending up in a 35-35 tie. We'll be back right after this.
Hey, when the weatherman says snow, I'm just the fella you should know. I sell the right winter tire for you.
Your Michelin dealer has the tires that'll take you through anything winter's got. If you're looking for mileage on the open road, a solid grip on ice, real digging traction in deep snow, and all this at a price that's a nice surprise, it's Winter Michelin's.
Hey, they don't compromise. I wash you.
I'm Gila, sir. This is my family, and Chevrolet is my family car. Chevrolet Caprice. I take chances on the ice, but not with my family. And that's why I like Chevrolet. The 79 Chevy has 2 years of proven performance behind it, with so much room, comfort, and style. It's a winner. Nice play, Chevrolet.
A tremendous comeback by the Montreal Alouettes in the last couple of minutes of this ball game, and they very nearly pulled out a victory. It was 34-22 when the Alouettes started their comeback, and Bob, Jerry DiTilio, despite the fact that he is starting just his third football game, showed a lot of confidence and a lot of composure in those final few minutes and delivered the strikes, particularly the one that put the Alouettes ahead to Larry Smith.
He certainly did. He stood in that pocket and really had to concentrate on his game, especially after those interceptions. But I think in that second half, it was the team that was able to score against the wind, not with it, that really made the difference. And it was DiTilio's job in scoring those two last-moment touchdowns that really made it an exciting finish.
And, of course, one of the big differences, unfortunately for Bob Gaddis, a man who had made many fine catches all afternoon, he dropped a two-point conversion attempt in the end zone. Right now, let's go down to field level and Ernie Afaganis.
All right, Don, and it seems that as we watch the Saskatchewan Roughriders go by us on their way to the dressing room, there's great disappointment there because, after all, they did have the ball game pretty well locked up. But the Grey Cup champions came on in their traditional manner to fight all the way, and they salvaged that tie. A tough break for Saskatchewan, a great comeback for Montreal, and a very exciting game. A lot of exciting games in the West. Usually, Saskatchewan is involved. Now, this is Ernie Afaganis for Bob LaRose and Don Whitman saying goodbye from Taylor Field in Regina.
Canadian Professional Football on CBC. Brought to you by Canadian Pacific. Owned by Canadians, working for Canadians. KTEL International. Specialists in household and leisure time products. Shell Canada Limited. Shell helps. Labatt's Breweries of Canada Limited. Brewers of Labatt's 50 Ale and Labatt's Blue.